Remember Adam said that we need a jingle. Praise the. Woo! Woo! Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the Praise the Pickle podcast. I hope you've all had a week.
I'm so happy about that.
That was so good, wasn't it?
That was brilliant.
I hope you've all had a fantabulous weekend and happy Monday or Tuesday or whenever you listen to this. And welcome. So, this is the Praise the Pickle podcast where we talk about games, just all things games, everything we love and hate, and news and all that jazz. And we're going to jump straight into it by begging you guys to please rate us and subscribe to us on your podcast platform, because we need some more traction. Come on, guys, you know you're loving this. Yeah, so
we need everyone to, you never know, we can give back if we become really rich and famous. So
yeah, there's $10 Amazon gift cards on the table ready to get sent out to
right
all
in front of Ben.
Right, just right in front of it. It's just a stack of them.
You know what? If you take a picture of you liking and sharing and sending it to at least 5 people,
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
So this little lovely section is called Elephants in the Room from last week. So I was supposed to change it to Kevin's blunders, but he didn't actually make any blunders last week.
You know what? You already made one blunder this week, though.
Have I? What have I done this week?
Because I have no idea who we are.
You didn't introduce us, Ben.
So blunder number one, young one. I'm Kevin, by the way.
Oh no! Right, let's go through that. So my name is Ben Watts, and this is the Praise the Pickle podcast, right, where we talk about video games. I have with me on my left Daniel Watts.
Hi there.
I have with me on my right Kevin Hart.
Hey.
There you go. Wasn't so hard, was it?
Wait, what? How comes I'm on your left? Why can't I be on your right?
That's just how it works, man.
Man.
Right, so yeah, this is the Elephants in the Room section where we talk about all the things that we screwed up last week, and it's quite a big list this week, but Kevin isn't on it once, so...
Wait, I mean, oh my god.
Yeah, I know, it's madness.
The
so first of all, the obvious thing...
Wait, what?
He's not on it once. No. I mean, apart from his shocking game release thing, but we already addressed that last podcast, so it's fine. Did you find anything, Dan?
No, I was too busy editing.
Yeah, so that brings me on to my first point. The sound quality last week was atrocious, even after Dan put 7.5 hours into editing it. I don't know what happened, but somehow my Audacity managed to change my mic from my proper super duper one to the one that I had like raised up above my head. So it basically was just awful, and I apologise profusely for the crappy audio quality last week. But thank you, Daniel, for putting in that much effort to actually make it listenable, because before that it probably wasn't, I presume. So.
If this week is significantly better, then shout out to Zencaster.
Yeah.
This is our first try using that platform.
Yeah.
And you suck Audacity.
No, it's not.
No,
Audacity's open source, man. Don't be a bastard.
Jesus.
Come on. So mic quality, I apologise. And this week, hopefully, I haven't heard it yet, but I have high hopes that this is going to sound a lot better than last week. Next thing that we screwed up from last week, this one was a Benji blunder. So this one was where I said, Team 17, they made Dead Cells. They didn't make Dead Cells. So Dead Cells was actually made by Motion Twin and not Team 17. So...
But then you also have to understand is that although you said that, none of us even corrected you or even knew ourselves. So I guess that's not only a blunder.
No,
from
but you are 2 listeners, but every other listener that's out there probably thought, wait, hold on, that didn't happen. So I'm just correcting myself. All right, it's fine. It's fine. Next one is a Dan blunder, which is where he said Abzu was made by Giant Squid Game. No, where he said it was made by that game company.
That game company.
But in fact, it was actually made by Giant Squid Game. But it had people that worked on Journey on it. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So
he was half right.
That was a Dan blunder. And we also have another Dan blunder. So Dan was actually a bit off form last week, which is surprising because he's normally like the professional one.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about orchestras singing. The orchestra singing the Halo theme tune and not the choir singing it. So yeah, Dan blunders galore this week apparently.
Sorry if anyone was triggered by that.
I hope there's no like classical musicians listening to this. Cool. So let's just jump straight into the top 3. So the top 3 this week was unintentionally donated by Adam from feedback last week, where he was like, what do you guys think? What games do you guys think would make great movies? Because most of them have been rubbish. So do you think there's any games that would be great movies? So we've picked a top 3 games that we think would be banging old movies, but they probably wouldn't because the track record's awful. But let's go into it. So I'm gonna say Dan start this week.
Oh. So, full disclosure, I may have got this one a bit wrong. I didn't listen to the question properly. So, I've got my top 3 movie adaptations from the past.
Yeah, so we really listen to feedback, guys. We really take it in, and just...
Hey, I'm sorry, okay? It was a long feedback email.
But he has adapted them, so...
Yeah, so basically, I'm just going to pick my top 3 favourite ones and add a 2 to the end. So I would like to see a sequel to each of these. God, most of which are coming out. I don't know what to do here because I haven't had much. I only just realised this, so I don't know.
That's fine. Okay, you can just do your top 3 favourite movies. Fine, whatever.
3. None of these are amazing films, but the first one is Warcraft. I thought that was pretty cool. That's it.
Dan, you just, oh my God, the amount of thought that's gone into this, it's just unreal.
I've been sick. I'm trying my best here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Warcraft. I have not seen it, and I have no intention to ever see it. Moving on. Go on, Kev.
Let's move on.
Okay, so I felt as if this was quite a difficult one in itself this week. It was, yeah. Because to me, I feel like most games are very their games are all made up, and a lot of the time no listen to what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, go on.
That being, trying to make a lot of games revolve around war and around like killing and just made up creatures and stuff, and it's just a bit of a I feel as if you choose one game, it's going to be very similar to a lot of other games. So right. I've tried to go for like a more human based.
Yeah.
/ I don't really know what to choose, so I've just gone for ones that I basically have one that I think would be good, one that would be quite funny, and another one that I just think would be quite cool. So one would be quite cool, Zelda.
Oh God, really?
Because it has a lot of history, man. There's got a lot of games out there.
Honestly, you actually think a Zelda film would be good?
I think if it's done correctly, it could be.
For a start, Link doesn't actually say anything.
Yeah.
So like a silent movie.
It's time to put a voice to that.
But one of those old Harry Hill movies where it's called. It's like piano playing in the background.
Nobody can voice Zelda. That's not something I ever.
It can be like the Death Edition.
Oh God. That was.
Wait, no. Actually, I wasn't there one Zelda where he said he has a little bit of voice going on. I feel like there was at one moment that there was. Maybe not. I'll be honest with you. I haven't replayed many Zeldas, so I'm probably chatting out my bumhole. But
yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I'll be honest, man. I've played quite a lot of Zelda, and I can't think of any time that Zelda spoke or Link spoke.
Doesn't he make like
oh yeah? I forgot that's speaking.
There you go. Yeah. See, I know I'm always right.
That was an atrocious pick. Thank you, Kevin.
You know what? I don't think Link gets enough.
Just explain to me how that's going to work. Like, what do you mean Link doesn't get enough love? Is that one of the most beloved game series of all time?
Well, there you go. It might be one of the most beloved film series of all time.
Okay, but you pick a puzzle game. Like they're at their core.
Change it from the
puzzle.
Games. Change it to something.
What? Then it's not Zelda, then is it?
Okay, it could be like Tomb Raider or something. That type of thing, or
which they have done, and it was horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
What, the Tomb Raider films?
Yes.
Yes.
Some of them are decent.
No.
Oh God. I cannot believe you just said that.
Hey man, you gotta give Angelina Jolie a little bit of loving.
No, you don't. That is atrocious, Kevin. That is a god awful pick. I'm sorry, Adam, that you had to hear that.
Jesus,
right.
Again.
So my number 3, I really struggle with this one. Like honestly, every
you.
single day I was looking. I went on my phone to our show notes and I was like, right, I've got to pick my top 3, and I just couldn't think of any. Every single thing I thought of, I either like had a movie already, which was garbage, or was just like you kind of like you say, Kevin, where it's like so.
All of them would be so similar. That's the problem.
That it would just be like watching the game almost. So it's kind of pointless. But so I know last week I said I wouldn't pick Ni no Kuni, but I ran out of ideas. So my number 3 is Ni no Kuni because
is that not as bad as mine?
Well, no, because it actually
on different levels.
No.
That one kind of works anyway because the game is animated, but because it's Ghibli, you can imagine a Ghibli.
Yeah, of course, it could be a Ghibli movie.
Oh, that's just a cop-out, man. Jesus.
I know it's a cop-out, which is why I said I wouldn't pick it.
It's almost like me saying Halo or something.
There was a Halo film, and it was kind of good.
Wait, hold up. Was there?
I didn't think there was.
Yeah, Enter the Reach or something.
Oh, the animated movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's not... Right. I wasn't... Oh, okay.
Okay, mine's still better than Kevin's pick. It doesn't take much, but you know.
It's a really good top 3s right now. People must be loving this.
Dan, what's your next favourite video game movie?
Silent Hill was pretty good.
Silent Hill was really good, wasn't it?
That was good, that was.
It was.
That was a wicked film,
really well.
man.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, no, that's still to this day one of my favourite horror films. It's really good.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know what
it
else to say.
still doesn't answer the question, but you know, it's fine.
It's like, you guys are talking about cakes and I'm talking about pizza. Like,
you've just got it like. How have you got this so wrong?
I thought really hard about it as well. But
I love how you read Adam's email before the show. Kevin went through it through the show, and it's been in the show notes for however long. And somehow, throughout all 3 of those like barriers, you've just completely missed the point of it. I just don't get it. Let's not
include this in the blunders next week. There's no need.
No, I think we definitely addressed it. Kevin, number 2.
Okay, my one is going to be a kids one. Okay, and I think it'll be. I think it could work really well as a kids film. The Untitled Goose Game.
I don't think it's a film, but I could imagine it being a
series.
Like a kids' TV series, just with a goose just causing chaos.
Yeah, just running around 100%. Like an absolute nutter, just taking people's glasses and putting people's pants down,
slitting people's throats. You know.
Bit of a twisty.
Does that happen?
I mean, someone banged a nail on their finger, especially if someone's slitting a throat in it.
Oh man, yeah. Oh, it's rough. Okay, yeah, I'm fully on board with that one.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah, I would watch that.
Would you?
I don't know about watching it, but yeah.
You'd watch it when your kids are watching it.
Yeah. So my number 2 is... Okay, this one's a bit of a dodgy one as well, to be honest.
Oh, imagine the Untitled Goose Game is the best one out of all of them.
It might end up being... Actually, no, my number 1's pretty good.
My number 1's pretty good as well.
I don't know. So my number 2 is Warhammer 40k.
Oh, I don't know.
I know it's not a video game, but it's still a game. All right. But specifically, the Horus Heresy storylines, like the first 3 books mainly.
I
Of
don't
like,
know.
if it's done right, man, that
It'd be
could
too
be
easy
so
to
good.
get wrong, though.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what
way
worries
too easy
me
to get
about
wrong.
that.
Yeah, but
And you know,
like,
Games Workshop are like, they'll license some crappy company to do it.
yeah,
Like,
probably
I would love. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see that, like in the style of
like
is it
Blade Runner or
Sparties?
something.
Have you seen Is it Sparties on YouTube? It's like a short series of 4
Oh,
3
you've
minute
mentioned it
episodes.
before. Yeah,
It's such amazing animation, and it captures like the space marine power and the atmosphere of everything so great. If they did a whole movie like that, like if they got that guy to make the entire film, I would 100% love that.
yeah, that's what I mean. It could be really good. I mean, this is all completely hypothetical, so it doesn't
course.
actually matter what we say. But there is a good chance that story could be done well on
Yeah.
screen, basically.
And it would need to be like long. You'd need to do it as a trilogy of 3-hour movies, like an
Oh,
epic.
100%. Yeah. Like it's an epic. You know what I mean? Like it's such a massive story, but there's so many good bits in it. I think the only thing I struggle with is that having Space Marines as like the main characters when they're kind of like emotionless. So it's a bit. I don't know how attached you can get to those sorts of characters, but
they made a 40k movie, didn't they? Like a Space Marine. Is it Ultramarine or something?
No, they made a game.
I'm pretty sure they made a movie. Yeah, it was like an old film, like a couple of decades ago. I think it was called Ultramarine.
Just looking up. Oh my days!
Looking things up. Oh, has he been?
That's it. It's a Benji blunder.
Oh.
Yeah, they did. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it was any good. I never saw it, but
well, it got 5.6 out of 10. So
that's what I was worried about.
Yeah, not that one. A new one. I'll lead the project. It's fine.
And it would need to be like an 18, like a proper.
Oh yeah. If it's not an 18, that's just that's a disgrace to Warhammer.
It's an interesting choice, though. I could get on board with that.
Yeah.
Depending on who's making it.
Yeah. Mr. Daniel, what's your number one?
Let's just skip these, shall we? Let's just
no.
I want to know it. Yeah, I want to know
video
it
game
now.
movie is.
This one was kind of easy to pick my number one, even if it was the wrong question. The first Final Fantasy movie, Spirits Within, I loved.
That is great. Yeah.
Like
is that even based off the games though?
Not kind of in like the lore of the universe. It's not, the story isn't based on any of the games, but I thought it was really, really interesting. The CGI for the time was next level.
Yeah, no, it was mad.
I
might have to watch that again. You know, that's such a good film.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool film.
Have you seen it, Kev?
No.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's a bit strange. It's kind of obscure and trippy and about.
Yeah, but it's just a solid sci-fi, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, good pick. For the wrong category again.
But, you wait until we get to the question that's, what's your favourite video game adaptations from the past?
You could just skip that podcast, it's fine. Kev, go. Number one.
Fallout.
Yeah, I could see that actually.
I like the idea. I think it would be a good idea to possibly see it through the different vaults and stuff. So you could have. So if anyone doesn't know, Fallout is basically a game after a. Help me out here. Completely forgot what it is. Post-apocalyptic. That's the one. Yeah.
Nuclear explosion. Yeah. And you go in a vault.
Yeah, and they have different vaults that do different types of testing, I believe, or they do different.
Each one's like a social experiment.
Yeah. And all of the different Fallouts have a different storyline depending on who you're looking through. But I think it would be cool to have the idea of all the testing and see how people will change with radiation. I think the CGI could be quite cool.
I think there's I see where you're coming from, but I think it would only work if it was really gritty, like a Mad Max sort of like really gritty style.
Yeah, definitely.
Of that sort of because Fallout's quite comical, so I just can't imagine that working really in a film. But
I don't know. I think that's one of the key defining factors of Fallout is the kind of silly comical nature of it. Like, wasn't there a vault where everybody in the vault was given the same name, like Gary or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I know, but there were some really cool ones. Like one of them where it was all women, one where it was all men, one where it was like very specific social classes and age groups, and every single vault had a very interesting.
I should do one where they like elevator
how would
music.
that translate? How would that translate into a movie?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's someone clever enough out there to make something like that.
No, if I can't do it, no one can. That's it.
Also, a real life Pit Boy, seeing that in action would be well cool.
A real life what?
Pit Boy.
Oh right, really? I mean,
it's just like a Game Boy on your wrist. It's
yeah, what's that?
What? It's like someone looks at
box.
it. Someone looks at it and everyone freezes outside you.
Oh,
and then like you look at it, and then you press a button, and then you just change.
Just talking about that's not the Pit Boy, Ken. That's like the VAT system.
No, it's a Pit Boy as well. What are you talking about?
That's a video game mechanic. It's not really in the world.
Yeah, it's not. Time
I
doesn't
get that.
actually freeze.
I know. Well, Jesus, man.
All right.
I could get on board with that though. I think a movie in that universe would be really cool.
As long as Bethesda aren't behind it, that's fine.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they have to get some of their glitches in there.
Moldy helmets out there.
I think prequel would be perfect. Like the setting up of the vaults, and maybe the fact that the vaults are widespread and this big experiment. There's an argument to be had.
Yeah.
That the nuclear war was set up to trigger this experiment in some way. I don't know. I think like the whole conspiracy side of it.
That could be really cool if it was before, as opposed to afterwards, like a origin story of Fallout sort of thing. That could be quite cool. Yeah.
But Bethesda are going to make a game about all that anyway at some point.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and
it might have real NPCs. Sorry.
Yes, that's true. My number one is Soma.
Cool.
Can I get away?
Way-o.
I love this.
So much power.
So much power. Yeah. So Soma is just a fantastic sci-fi story, and it would translate. In fact, I think it might even be a better movie than a game. If that makes sense.
If you believe that, I think that could be a good shout then.
Yeah, because the gameplay stuff is fairly, it's like exploratory, kind of horror-esque sort of thing, but like having that sort of horror style, like almost like the Abyss movie, that sort of vibe, like Alien, that sort of thing, like horror-esque, but all the sci-fi story elements in it, and it would be amazing.
It did feel very much like a movie, actually. One of the first things I said about it was how deep the immersion was.
Yeah.
Like as you were walking around the apartment and picking things up and getting into the mind of the main character. It felt like you were watching a movie in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I can see that.
Hell yeah! I told you my number one was the best one. Actually, no, I think Dan's number one was the best one.
Shut.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So, Kevin, would you like to pick our top 3 for next week, please?
Top 3 for next week are your top 3 games that made you laugh the most. Because I feel like a lot of ones we've been choosing, a lot of games I feel like at the moment are quite
serious.
Sure, no idea what that means, but I'm assuming it means the word I want to look for. So
serious.
Oh, I thought I swear you said that in a really weird way. That
I did.
I don't think you did, but okay.
Games that made you laugh.
I like that.
Yeah, cool.
Can't think of
games from the past that made you laugh, right?
What?
Games.
I think this game may make me laugh. Oh, I get it, because Dan was making a joke because he screwed up this week. I got it. I just put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. It's got awkward suddenly.
Onto the
feedback. Go on, Kevin.
Are we? Should I give the feedback and then I'll give the feedback first. So we got.
It's usually how it goes.
All right. We got 2 bits of feedback this week. We got Ben. He's been very active on Facebook, so everyone needs to go over there.
Yeah.
Because he's asking lots and lots of questions.
Not tons. You're not going to get bombarded.
That's
don't
true.
worry.
Yeah, I think last week he asked 2 questions.
Like 2 questions a week.
Yeah, and one of them was he noted that it's Game of the Year soon because the year's coming to an end, and so people would give their ideas of what they think the Game of the Year is, and we had a lovely response from a John, who said that he thinks Resident Evil 2 remastered would be up
Remake.
there. Remake.
Oh, God.
Oh. Oh, help me.
You just have to read one word. It's not hard.
You know what you have to do? You have to not correct me and make that a blunder of next week.
Oh yeah, sorry. All right, I'll be less correctful now.
Thank you. Which I myself, I think I played the game and I thought it was tons of fun, and it was definitely, I'd say it's up there of one of the better games I've played this year.
I mean, as it stands, it's currently on my list for Game of the Year, definitely. But there's still a lot more to come out this year. So, I mean, we've got there's so many games coming out, and I'm just panicking a little bit. The reason I asked that question is because Game of the Year is coming up, and I have only played, I think, 2 2019 games, and I can't even think of what the second one is. So, please leave some feedback and tell us what we need to play before the end of the year, because otherwise we're going to get to the Game of the Year podcast and it's just going to be like 2 games on it. So, because obviously I know Sekiro Shadow Dies Twice, whatever it's called, is supposed to be very good, so that's on my list as well. And Death Stranding, Outer Wilds also. But I just feel like I'm missing a lot. I don't know why. I just can't seem to think of anything else that's come out this year, to be honest. So please leave some feedback and let us know.
I'm sure if we had a look on the internet for a little bit, we'd
done
been
that.
like, that one. Oh, really?
Yeah, I just can't. The issue is because I haven't played them. I don't know whether they're Game of the Year territory, and I'm sort of like, I don't want to look at a review and spoil it and find that out before I play it, and then but at the same time I'm like, I need to know which ones of the. There's like less than 10 weeks till Christmas. Okay, I need to play these games. I need people to tell me what I need to play. So please message in and let us know what your current Game of the Year is. Yeah, and I'll definitely play them. I need something, please.
Okay, well, that leads me on to our second, which was an email from a happy Pickler of last week. She says, hello Pickles, there are 4 areas I'd like to comment on this week, and I believe we should do it
one by one.
Yeah, we should address the points one by one.
Get my boxing gloves
out. Last week we spoke a bit about parenting skills and the effect, gaming addiction, and this was her take on it. Going by her take, she is a parent herself, so I completely agree that good parenting skills are required when attempting to monitor the time kids are playing games, but this is easier said than done, which you did give a nod to, but it was half-hearted. Some kids do not just show signs of happiness while gaming, referring to the happy chemicals released while playing games. They can become aggressive and violent if a parent has agreed to allow a couple of hours gaming time, but at the end of those hours the child is in the midst of a challenge. It is unlikely that he or she is going to be happily say, "Okay, Mum, no worries, I'll turn it off." It is unpleasant to witness a child turn into a monster when the game is not going to plan, and no parent wants to see that. Many parents will not believe it to be what?
Nothing gone.
Waiting for their child to be in a bedroom for hours at a time, staring at a computer screen, not communicating with them or being part of the real world. With the giggles now. I know this sounds extreme, and I imagine you raising your eyebrows, but please understand that I get the fun and enjoyment can be gained from playing games, but it has to be in moderation, and that's not always the case. Guys, fire away. Take her down.
She's got some really good points, I think, and obviously none of us are authorities on parenting tips because none of us are parents ourselves.
Yeah.
So, we're not experts in this, but I think she's right. I think moderation is key. As with anything, really, like limiting your kids to sleep time and sugary snacks and playtime and everything else, it's one thing to take away something that they do on the regular anyway, and it's another thing to limit it from the get go. Like, if a kid's allowed an hour of playtime a day, giving them a 2 hour session is a treat to them. But if they currently do 6 hours a day and you try and take it away at the 4 hour mark, then it's going to feel like a punishment and they're going to kick off. Like, I think that's
Quite
one way
looking
to
at it.
look at it.
Yeah, I think the main thing I get from this is she agrees that parents need to parent, but
Yeah.
we made it sound very easy, and it's
Yeah,
not.
that's true.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah. So yeah. Let me stress that I never said it was easy. It's not, but I mean, I'm sure she agrees that it is still a necessity. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's not nice watching your child turn into a monster at the end of a game, sort of thing, but and there's it's all about compromise. As with every relationship, it's all about compromise. Where it's like, if they're on the last boss of a game or something after their 2 hour limit, you can be like, okay, you can play for another half an hour, that's fine, but you have to do the hoovering afterwards, and I'll be like, okay, cool, that's fine. And it's
The problem with that though is it all depends on. I mean, some parents don't Isn't it like the comical joke where they say, "Oh, can you pause the game and come down?" And you're like, "Oh, I can't. It's an online game. You can't pause an online game."
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah,
parents
there's
need
that
to know
side
that
of
you
it.
can't pause online
Yeah,
games. That's
so
really important.
if you are in the middle of a game that's going to take you an extra like 30 minutes, 15 minutes, then you can't be telling them, but obviously parents don't know that, and it needs to be addressed, and I guess that's where the communication comes from. But
Yeah,
I mean, I do agree with what she's saying. I
mm,
completely do. But I kind of want to highlight, she said something about kids getting violent and angry when they're playing video games. Obviously, they're stressed out and they're shouting at the computer. I also want to say that in this day and age, video games are the biggest entertainment industry in the world. And not only, they're not just violent shooters all of the time, even if they are some of the most popular games. A lot of the time, they are artistic, interactive experiences that give children a window into art and music and narrative in ways that they probably wouldn't be able to get otherwise. There's also the cooperative aspect of it, that it does teach people how to engage with other people. And a lot of the time, I think a kid will get stressed out when you pull them away from the console because they're actually playing with their friends.
yeah.
And, they might not be playing outside or on their bikes or playing football in the park, but they are engaging with people. And in a way, they are socializing. I don't think it's entirely unhealthy for children to play video games
No, I
in
mean, you
moderation.
look at like the difference between, obviously, if you look at a kid playing Fortnite, they're playing a competitive game, so they're gonna get angry when they don't win.
Yeah, yeah.
But if
But they often play that with a squad of three other
Yeah,
people.
but then if you play Minecraft, it's a different world altogether.
True.
You can still get stressed out in a game. I get stressed out in a game. I was raging at Gears of War 5 yesterday. But like, there's there you can't just look at the example of competitive games and say, oh, kids get angry when they play games, because that's one side of gaming, and not all kids are into those sorts of games, like you said. Like, it's not. Obviously, they're going to be if their friends are, but anyway, we talked about it too long. But that's yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. It can't be easy by any means,
mm.
but
Yeah.
still a necessity, I'd say.
Okay, so yeah, the second point is the ideas of companies being able to monitor your heart rate, facial expressions. I hope I understood the next topic, but it sounds quite terrifying that a company can monitor the physical and mental reactions of a player whilst gaming. I could not trust the reasoning behind it. In brackets, another eyebrow moment. I'm not one to believe in huge conspiracy theories, but can well imagine that they use these. I completely lost where the hell I was reading. Use these results to create even more addictive games, therefore creating more revenue. They will put a spin on it to make it more realistic, but their ultimate goal is money. You have stated how much money there is in gaming, and these big companies will always be greedy for more.
But then you can answer this one. You were the AI man last week.
Okay. It's kind of scary, but important to highlight that your phone does what these guys are planning to do all of the time, and so does your computer. Every website that you browse, the physical orientation of your device, how many steps you take, your emotional state based on your searches and social media interactions. the things that you buy, your shopping habits, your music tastes, and even down to your music tastes at certain times of the day or year, depending on the seasons and whatnot. Like almost every aspect of who you are is being mapped by a system to customize the experience for you. And yes, granted, the models that they map are mostly used to advertise and sell you things. There is, I think, there is an argument to be had for the usefulness of customized ads as well.
Well, yeah, you look at
I would
Spotify. Look at Spotify;
Go
it's
on.
great.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
and
finding new
that's a
music
really
with it. Yeah,
complex machine learning model. Like, yeah, the what do they call it? The Discover Weekly and stuff like
yeah,
that. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess the question is, we we kind of live in a data-driven age where everything is driven by massive amounts of data, and everything that you do on a network connected device is pumping more data into that system. There's no getting away from that. You can't just switch that off, unless you completely go offline and stop Google searching and stop sending emails and stop using Netflix and stop using Spotify and YouTube and whatnot. Then there's no getting away from the fact that you are just a cog in that machine of machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they're doing this with video game gameplay and things is just another stepping stone, really, to training more advanced artificial intelligence. Like, if you don't like that, then you do kind of need to just switch off and go offline completely. If you want to use the internet, then you have to accept that you are part of that. But I do admit that it's a little bit
it
scary,
is scary.
especially when they're
Yeah.
going to start using your cameras. Like, when they start using your cameras, it does feel like an invasion of your privacy, more so than looking at your Google searches.
Yeah, because like
that's the bit that makes me
yeah,
uncomfortable.
with Google searches and stuff, you're like you feel protected. Do you know what I mean? You feel like you're behind a barrier where people can't see you, and
Yeah.
it's almost like when you rage at people in video games, and then if you saw them in real life, you'd never act like that. Because you're behind this protective barrier where people don't know what you look like, people don't know what your actual personality is like, and stuff like that. So you have this illusion of protection there. So then the second cameras are involved, you're like, oh my god, they can see my house. What? That's weird. Yeah. So it is kind of terrifying, but like you said, it is the day and age we live in. So I don't see the problem with them using it in video games to make it more immersive. I don't see.
As long as they are clear with the permissions and
Yes.
they ask
Yeah.
whether you want to be a part of that. It shouldn't be an opt-out. It
Yeah.
should be an opt-in experience, in my opinion. You should choose that you want to be part of this and experience more advanced AI, not have to go into the settings and look for some little toggle switch that switches it off.
Yeah, if it's a requirement
should
of a
be
game,
very
that would be an
strict.
issue.
Yeah, I agree.
It's almost like, for example, they have a lot of nowadays. If you want to use an app, or for example, it's a bit of a weird one. I downloaded what would I look like if I was bald app on my phone.
Jesus, he's literally like a 60-year-old living in the 25-year-old body. Isn't it? It's madness. He's just got a smartphone for the first time, and he's like, "Oh, I wonder what I look like when I'm bald."
But to take a picture on that, as soon as you press the camera, it asks you if you want to if it's allowed to use your camera, or it's allowed to use your microphone, or whatever it is. It always has to ask you and get your permission whether to use it or not.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't there that thing not too long ago about I can't remember what it was.
I know what you're about.
The ones to make you look old, and they ended up they said to you, we can use your pictures and your whatever you've done on that website for literally eternity, and we can do whatever we want with it because you've agreed to it.
I think it was like a Chinese data farming company that put that app out there.
Yeah.
Tried to get as many people to install it as possible. And again, that data is, we live in the information age, and information on people is more valuable than gold.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's going. So you need to take everything with a grain of salt. Whenever you see an app on the App Store that's like, we are completely free, most of the time it's just another way to collect more data on you. So Kevin, you are
an idiot.
I think you've fallen victim to that.
But the question is, what did you look like bald, Kev?
Well, the app was useless, so
great. It was worth it then. You just sold your data to freaking Chinese data farmers to look, and you didn't even find out what you look like bald.
You basically take a picture of yourself, and you basically put essentially a bald head on top of your head, over the top of it all, and then it tries to map where it is, and you just look like I don't know.
These companies don't even have to try anymore, do they?
Yeah, I know they don't.
No,
because you've got fools like Kevin that will just download it anyway. Like,
Hey man, I wanted to know what I look like bald. I've got a receding hairline.
Shave your head then. Goes
Alright.
back,
Ball
doesn't
cap.
it?
Next one, freedom of speech, big one.
Mhm.
I'm proud that in this country we have a freedom of speech. We can pretty much say how we feel about anything, but that doesn't mean anyone can incite others into the hatred of any other community. People should not be allowed to encourage violence or racism towards another. The case you're talking about, when the gamer won a prize and made a political statement, is wrong on all levels. The gamer should not have used that moment to state his beliefs, and the company should not have, in return, stated their allegiance.
Hell yeah.
I think they should remain independent from all political sides. Many famous individuals use their status to highlight atrocities in the world and may give their political views, but in their own time, not whilst performing in whichever area they're known for. A gold medalist in the Olympics would not stand on a podium and shout, "Vote Tory." I am very, very much behind this.
That was my
I
argument
think
last week.
Yeah.
What?
I
didn't disagree
also
with your
largely
argument.
agree with
Did
everything
you
that
not?
she's
Oh.
saying. I do actually agree with everything that she's
Yeah.
saying, but there are some important nuances to this particular case that I think are worth highlighting again.
Okay.
So, yes, all parties were wrong. He shouldn't have done what he did, and Blizzard shouldn't have stated their allegiance, as she said. But I think the major scandal here, I guess, is the political affiliation of the major conglomerate that's one of the biggest players in the biggest entertainment industry of this age. Like, their ties to China are obviously quite significant, and that's the reason they did this.
Yeah.
But what we need to remember is that whilst we are talking about free speech being important, the Chinese government are very much trying to shut down the idea of free speech entirely. They've banned Winnie the Pooh in their country completely.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
know
because he
this?
looks like the Prime
Yeah.
Minister or something, doesn't he? Or the Prime Minister.
Because somebody made a comment that he looked a little bit like the Prime Minister. And the civilians,
This guy's salty as hell,
civilians-
man.
isn't he?
Oh,
But the
bother.
civilians were using it as a really
Oh,
kind of
bother.
light-hearted, gentle way to make fun of their leader.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if you got put in prison for saying something bad about Boris Johnson?
It's madness, isn't it?
This guy Blitzchung was speaking by enacting his free speech. He was speaking up for free speech in China. He wasn't. I don't know. I think that's worth highlighting. You've also got DJ Z, who was banned from China for life because he liked the South Park thing, and that was in his own time. DJ Z liked a anti-Chinese comment in his own time, outside of any of his shows or on any platform, and China turned around and banned him as well. So
yeah, it's definitely a iffy situation, that's for sure. I think that her feedback is a very broad way of looking at the situation of free speech within gaming events and stuff. But in terms of China and in terms of this particular situation, it's different because, like you said, Blitzchung was standing up for free speech in Hong Kong. Him using his free speech there was to help Hong Kong have their free speech. Like, it wasn't just him putting an opinion forward that anyone could put forward, because not everyone could put that forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the scandal wasn't what he said. It's that China are using an American company, a large American company, to enforce their agenda, which is frankly quite oppressive. That's the bit that people are upset about, is that they're using an American company with a worldwide audience to push this agenda. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Sorry, my Discord was making funny noises. I got scared. I thought someone joined our Discord channel. I was like, who is this person? It was a different one. Welcome to the podcast. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah. Right, go on. Next point.
Yeah.
Okay, game of the week, in brackets with jingle. Oh, this is... Oh, I'm excited for this one.
This is where shit gets real, man.
I'm afraid I did not like the sound of the game Ben spoke about with such passion.
My heart.
A company should research the plight of individuals who are living with such a horrific illness and use that information to make a game. in I find it in poor taste. As you mentioned, there are hospitals and specialists attempting to help these people cope and manage their problems, whilst gaming companies use the research to sell the game and make yet more money. When companies have the ability to have such imagination, creativity, and skill to produce games with an overwhelming atmosphere, enabling the gamer to finish the game with the strong feelings that both Dan and Ben had, why don't they use those abilities to help develop a game about something without the need to use people in real life desperate situations? I'm going to let you guys go for this one.
I have a lot to say about this. I think it's worth highlighting that the way we expressed it may not have come across as a game that was pro mental health support. It may have come across as a way that a company was using the mental health situation to promote a product.
It may have done that, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, so I mean, do you want me to go off on a bit of a rant here? Because I have quite a lot to say.
You have 4 minutes. Go. Go.
4 minutes.
3 minutes 55 now.
Okay, so obviously, shut up. So obviously, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice it's visceral and it's disturbing and it's an experience that's filled with audio visual hallucinations, and it explores a really extreme case of psychosis, but it's designed in a way that is supposed to reach out to people that have suffered all kinds of mental illness themselves, not to make light of them. And without going too deep into it, as somebody that has experienced depression in my own life, it didn't feel like the game was using the mental torment that Senua was going through as a way to platform this fun experience from, but it was used to empathize in a way. It's used to empathize with an audience of people that have suffered themselves with mental illness, but also people who know, who have loved ones that are experiencing mental illness as well. And I think the way that it does that is largely to do with the voices in her head. So in a way, it's like a salute to the people that have had to fight through that torment in their own minds. It's Senua deals with a lot of it. I'm being careful not to spoil anything here, but she does deal with a lot of extreme loss, and her psyche is torturing her consistently throughout the game. She's in a state of perpetual darkness, and any sort of hope is completely out of reach. And that's kind of a scary place to put yourself as a player. But as the game progresses, the player, is experiencing these overwhelmingly distorted environments, and you feel very lost and confused and disoriented. But the voices, whilst they describe to Senua how pathetic and how weak she is and how she should just turn around and go home quite a lot of the time, they convince her to just give up all the time. Amongst that onslaught of voices is this occasional chime of reason that will encourage her and show her the way and warn her when there's danger nearby and things like that. And I think that shows us that even in the darkest moments, there is a glimpse of
like my
hope.
quote. Like the quote at the end of the game,
yeah, totally. And it's, I think as the player, it's a very unique experience, this game, because as the player, you kind of join the chorus of voices yourself. You're there with Senua as she's going through this experience, and you're part of this chorus of voices, encouraging her and helping her navigate her way through this world. And whilst the world of Senua's Sacrifice is quite clearly a delusion and a manifestation of this really severe mental illness, we do remind ourselves of that. We say this is all kind of in her head, but we also get reminded of how empty that realization really is, because although it's just in her head, she is actually experiencing it. It is her subjective reality that she's going through, and it's horrible and it's warped. We feel sorry for her, and that's not a pity thing. We're not pitying this character. We're growing and we're helping her overcome these obstacles by facing them head on. And every demon that you fight is, in a way, a metaphor for facing one of her fears and facing one of her daily struggles. And I guess you could, every demon that you could defeat could be something akin to somebody with extreme anxiety finally saying yes to a party invite, or going out and meeting people, or doing something that they're scared of. And the game does this throughout. It says the hardest battles are fought in the mind. And yeah, we see her go through all of these things. I think it's important to note as well that in the gaming community there is a lot of mental illness. And I know I've said that in a way that makes it sound like games are causing mental illness.
Oh
That's
god.
not what I mean.
A lot of people,
I
a lot of
mean,
people use games as an escape.
totally, 100%. That's exactly what it is. And it's clear why people do that. You know, people in the past have read books and people watch films, but games are a very unique way for people to escape their mundane or difficult realities. So these people that develop this game, Ninja Theory, know who their audience are. And it can't be understated how the ripple effect of exploring this deeply researched, really carefully portrayed depiction of mental illness, that can be really useful and it can really help people. It's also worth noting that psychologists who have been studying mental illness, particularly schizophrenia, have for a long time desired to experience psychosis themselves, even for a brief moment, because without having any frame of reference, it's really hard to understand and empathize with their patients. So if there was a drug that they could take where they could experience schizophrenia just for a few minutes, it would really help them just to understand and get on the same level as the person that they're trying to help. And I think this game is one of the closest things that we've got to that. It does kind of induce that experience of feeling like you're going crazy. Do you know what I mean by that, Ben?
Yeah, no, completely. I mean, that I don't like that whole thing with doctors saying that, oh, if I could take a drug so I could experience it for 2 minutes. I think that's a bit.
Why? Why is that bad though? That's one of the most heartfelt and caring things that a doctor could wish to do, because they know how terrifying it is. They know how dreadful and
Also, you get a better understanding what they feel,
are.
and they could almost help them in that way.
Yeah.
They don't wish they had
No,
it.
I know,
they wish they
but
could experience it for a moment.
No, I know, but it's not a better understanding if you're experiencing it for 2 minutes. You can't.
But it's still better than not having that experience at all.
No, I know, but do you not find it really kind of weird how, if say this drug did exist and they went, oh, I've experienced it for 2 minutes. All you need to do is this.
Yeah, but that's not how they would use it. That's not how they would use it. It would, but
I've run past a lot of doctors in my day, Dan, and that is how they'd use it.
But in a proper, really careful, high budget research experiment, they could use that to tailor. I mean, we know there's no cure at the moment for psychosis, right? We know that the game is all about facing that psychosis and coming to accept it as part of Senua's reality. And towards the end of the game, we see her starting to not embrace, but just accept that she is ill, she's unwell, and she's got these voices in her head, and she's having these hallucinations. And that's a large part of what the game is based around, that you can't make these voices and these visions go away. You just have to learn to come to terms with them. The game was really special in that regard, and I do think it is just a very slight window into the mind of people that are sick. I don't think it was trying to profit off them in any way. And in fact, did you know that every single penny of the profit from the game went to a UK mental health charity?
Oh, well, there you go. I guess that.
No, it didn't.
I heard it did. I heard it went to Rethink.
No, I looked this up because I thought the same thing, and I was like, if that's the case, then we don't even need to argue this. We could just say all the money went to charity, and then the argument's finished. Because that was my
first
what's the
catch?
I was like,
I read that wrong. Is that just false information?
Because you've probably thought the same thing and typed it in, right? How much money did they give to charity or something like that? Yeah, and it's still really good. Don't get me wrong. All profits that they make on World Mental Health Day goes to charity.
Oh,
okay, well that does change things a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day,
it's not sneaky. No. It's just that's Google. When you type Google comes up.
I didn't dive deep into that at all. I just remember seeing it as I was browsing and like, oh, that's kind of cool.
No, so I looked this up quite a bit because I was like, they're not going to do this. Ninja Theory I like Ninja Theory as a company. They put a lot of care into their games and the things around their games. So I was like, they must have given a fair bit to charity. And they basically had like stretch goals. So when they make a certain amount of money, they give X amount to charity.
Okay.
And it's something like 5% or something of their profits, which is quite a lot, goes to charity. Like I think they gave like 50,000 after the first year or something like that. And then on top of that, I think it's every year, World Mental Health Day, all profits from Cinema go straight to charity as well.
That's pretty good.
So there's that. And then there's Are you finished? I've got 3 quick points I'll make about it.
Yeah, sorry, I went on.
Can I just can I
No,
put
that's
my little
fine.
bit in there because I could be wrong, but didn't you?
Kevin, you haven't
Okay,
played it. You have no say.
didn't I could be really wrong with this, but didn't one of you say last week that it was tested by people with this illness?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
very carefully worked with people experiencing
So surely,
psychosis and visions.
in
and
that
things.
way, I feel it's if they think it's fine with it, I guess I know obviously not everyone might think it's fine with it, but if they're playing it and they're happy for this game and they haven't had a problem with it, then I feel in that way it's
I think it
Yeah.
was quite clearly designed to help people who were close to mental illness. I really, it's hard to express this without having played it yourself and experienced it yourself, but I think it's very clear that it's supporting those people. Do you agree, Ben?
Yeah. I mean, so my points are, I thought about this a lot, and I spoke with Charlotte about it for about half an hour the other night when the email came in. And would you guys genuinely, both of you, I might know because I study science, but would you guys know what the symptoms and what psychosis is if it wasn't for art?
I'd have no idea.
No, so you wouldn't know unless you read it in a book, you see it on TV, or you see it in a game, or you experience it. Obviously, you wouldn't know what it is, would you?
No, it's not.
Especially as
No,
it's
because
kind of
not.
thrown around as a fear thing a lot of the time as well, and has been for quite a few years.
Yeah, but like 99% of people, there's a very small percentage of people that would know this because they study it, right? But apart from that, unless you have someone in your family that experiences it, or you experience it yourself, or you're only going to find it in art. So do you not think that art is the platform to create awareness for these sorts
Yeah,
of things?
I think creating awareness is exactly what video games are good for. And you can even go back to like old paintings by people that suffered mental illness and look at how they expressed their experiences that way as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, to address the point of them making money out of their plight, companies need to make money.
Yeah.
Sorry, one sec.
Oh, that was out of
That
no.
was
Yeah.
Sorry, the door was going to squeak. It was going to be really loud. Charlotte bought me a coffee. Thank you.
That's so lovely.
Yes, so companies need to make money, and they're not obliged to give money to charity. There's no. That was my cat. Sorry. Did you guys hear that? Yeah. So companies need to make money.
Yeah.
And they're not obliged to give money to charity, but they're doing it anyway because they understand the cause. They understand what they're doing is significant for that, to create awareness for that disease. So I don't like the argument of they're just making money out of people's plight. It's like, well, yeah, they have to make money. Charities make money as well. Like that's like saying someone that works for a charity and gets paid for it is making money out of people's plight.
Yeah,
pretty much. So I don't agree with that. And just to summarize, I mean, we've spoken about this for 12 minutes now. The quote from the creator, which I can't remember, that you said last week, which is about people having to live with the voices as opposed to trying to fight it. Yeah, and that's basically what the whole game is based around. Essentially, is what I said last week, and that is demonstrated very well in the game, I think. So it's not about. It's really hard to explain. It's not making money out of people's plights. It's showing how to tackle psychosis at the same time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's really hard to explain, but it's the game was made with good intentions 100%. In mind. It was not. It was never anything to do with making money. And it wasn't anything to do with making money because the other side of it as well was that it wasn't a massive budget game. It wasn't, they didn't put all this artistic flair in it and stuff like that. It was nothing like that. It was just a really raw game, which just explored those themes, I think.
It's also worth highlighting that when the game came out, it was only half of the price of any other similar game that's the same sort of length as well.
Yeah.
So it was.
Well, they could have easily charged full price for it. It's like a 9 to 10 hour game for most people. So they easily could have charged 40, 50 quid for that. But
yeah, and also think about the people that work. I mean, like myself, I currently work. My day job is working for the Samaritans. I don't do that for free. I still take a salary, and all of the other people that work in my office still take a salary. That doesn't mean we're doing it to profit. We work there because we appreciate the cause and we want to give back to it in some way, and we do that by giving our time and our energy.
But you still need to make a living.
But we still need to make
a living.
Yeah, precisely.
Ninja Theory are not in a situation where they can do that. There are some companies, like if I don't know, if Activision's a really bad example. If because they would never do this, but I don't know. If another really big game company that everyone loves, I can't think of any off the top of my head, made a game. Okay, for example, if Chucklefish made a game about it, quite a well-respected company, and they make a little indie game on mental health, I could understand a company that's really big. I don't know how big Chucklefish is, but giving all of their money to charity for it, right? But even when you do that, it's still for personal gain, because you do that to create more traction to your company.
Sure, yeah.
So it's not. That's how companies work. You have to make money, and you have to get people to buy your products, and that's just the way the world works. You can't really get away from that. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on, because that was 15 minutes of glorious Senua.
I could keep going quite easily on that topic.
Same. No,
she definitely
not the Senua episode.
No, that's definitely a good point that she made. It's worth exploring that a bit more deeply.
And she finishes by saying, "Well, this is a bit of a long email. Apologies for that, but I tried to keep it under 2 hours. Ha ha ha."
Well played.
Yeah.
What?
Please know that although I have disagreed with some of your comments, I really enjoy listening to your thoughts and insights. This was one term which was there was one term that was explained, so thanks for that, Ben. And the choral moment from Kev was priceless. Had me in stitches. Looking forward to listening on Monday. You're still happy, Pickler. She's still happy, Pickler, so that's all that matters.
Yay, that was really heartfelt. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for that. Keep the feedback coming. We honestly, like, you alone are creating like half an hour's worth of content each week.
Yeah,
so you can't complain about the 2 hours thing, right? You're partly to blame. But thank you. Did you get Vicky's thing?
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay, sorry, no, because she sent it to the page. Do you want me to read it out? Yeah. So Vicky, a long-time listener from episode 1 onwards, has messaged our Facebook page and said, "Thought I'd ask your opinion / first impressions on the Witcher series that's been announced." As in is it Netflix? I think it's Netflix.
Yeah, it's Netflix.
Yeah, the TV adaptation. Yeah, which you may have already mentioned following Adam's question. Also, my kid in Skyrim has adopted a skeever. I told him he could keep it, and it made me wonder what has been your favourite pets / companions from a game. I have 2 questions. First of all, you can have a kid in Skyrim?
Dan?
I don't know, can you? I thought she meant her real kid. I thought she actually had a kid in real life who had adopted it.
No, my kid in Skyrim.
I don't know. I didn't know you could have children.
I didn't. Yeah, I don't. You're gonna have to write in and explain that.
I didn't do the whole marriage thing in that game. I was too busy slaying dragons. I missed that bit.
Yeah, but how does that work if you have a kid? Do you have to? Do they follow you around? Do you take them?
You have to bath every day.
Or they just at home?
Do the school run.
the school run. Your alarm goes off every morning. It's like...
Taking your kid to school, you stab a dragon in the eyeball, carry on going.
And I was going to say I don't know what a skeever is, but I just googled it. I haven't played much Skyrim. I'm sorry. I do actually want to go back to it, so I will do that at some point.
Get on Switch.
But that's a good shout, actually. Yeah, Google said skeevers are large rat-like creatures that make their nests in caves, sewers, and underground warrens.
Oh, cool. That's a cute kid.
That's adorable. Well, I also want you to tell me his name.
Yeah, better have a good name.
I feel like there's good potential for it. Yeah, like Phil.
Look.
So, opinions on the Witcher series. What do you guys think? Kevin has no opinion because he's never played the Witcher.
There we go.
So.
You never played the Witcher, Kevin?
Right.
I didn't realise.
I watched our roommate play it for a bit, but he didn't seem that interested in it, so I kind of lost my interest.
It's phenomenal. I guess that's my concern with it. I haven't seen anything of the Netflix series. I haven't seen any of the trailers. Maybe a couple of like uh, screenshots. I guess my concern with it is that the story of the game was so incredible that it's so easy to screw up.
Yeah, that's my worry. I think I I almost feel like it would be better if they don't do a story and almost. Oh, who was it? I think it was on IGN. I think they were talking about it, and they said that it would be like a really good like X-Files series where
Yeah,
like each episode
take a
they
side
they
quest.
is like a quest. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but there's like story, like a branching story across it. But it's not just this 10 episode like epic of this one big story. It's like we're fighting a griffin this one, and then there's stories
Yeah.
about the villagers, and all the because that's where Witcher shines. Is the smaller stories.
Totally.
I think. Like, they're big. The main story's okay. I think. I don't think it's great personally, but there's it's all the little side quests that you do, like the woman that left her frying pan indoors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're always really interesting and always more than what they originally seem. Like that frying pan one where you go in and it's not just pick up a frying pan and give it back to her. That's what the mission first of all says, but it's not that. It's like it's other stuff
It
happens.
spirals off
So
into a crazy adventure. Like, yeah, I could totally see
Yeah.
that. I mean,
so
Bloody
like an
Baron,
X-Files style would be good.
the
Go on,
Bloody
sorry.
Baron quest line could easily be a series in itself. That was so good and so well written.
It was,
I
yeah.
know it's one that everyone talks about, but it's the one that people
I'm
remember.
glad we're talking about parts of the game that I've actually played. But then there's the Bloody Baron. Oh yeah, that's a long quest line, isn't it? Is that the one where you have to go to the tower
Tower. Yes, there is a tower in it, I think.
on the island? There's like a little tower on an island, and there's like a ghost inside, I think.
I don't remember that bit. It's about his kid and his wife and his kid go missing.
Yeah. No, but I can't remember if that's part of it or not.
I don't remember.
I remember the Bloody
tower
Baron sent me there, but
specifically.
anyway, yes, that's what. Yeah, that could be a story in itself.
Yeah, it's like a whole game of it in its own. Like you could easily make a whole series just about that and really explore the characters and the development there.
Yeah, definitely. Any thoughts at all, Kevin?
I can't really make an opinion, can I? I mean,
Will you be watching
if they made that good of a game and it's a very storyline based game, I can imagine it turning into a series quite well.
It might be even better for you because you haven't played the game, so there's nothing for.
That's true.
There's no palette for you to have.
It could be the worst thing in the world, but I
like
might think it's amazing because I know nothing about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll
watch it probably.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Should I tell everyone how to send?
No, we're not done. Favorite video game pets? Come on.
Pets. You know what? Okay. In Monster Hunter, man, those little guys that chill with you. Man, they're cool. I love them.
The little cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember them.
That's a good one. I'll give you that.
Nice.
Dan?
Portal's companion cube.
Is that a pet?
Yeah, I got so attached to that little guy. I was so sad when companion cube left me. That one, or maybe like Clank from Ratchet and Clank. That was a cool.
Oh, I had that thought. We can't really call him a pet. That's a bit.
Yeah.
Well, she said pet or companion.
He's like your buddy, man.
She said pet or companion.
Oh yeah, she did. She did.
Yeah, so
right.
Clank
Is,
companion cube is pet.
It's 343 guilt. What is his name in Halo? The little eyeball that rolls around with you sometimes.
I don't remember the name.
I'm going to be honest. I've never.
Oh, okay. Well, as an avid fan, I can't remember the name because my memory's like amazing. He's not really a companion because he's not with you all the time, so it's kind of a. That's a naff one. That was. I'll be honest with you, it's very much on the spot type thing, so it's a.
Yeah. I mean, only I knew about it. I did post it in the chat, to be fair, and you guys didn't read it.
We could make it one of our top threes and actually have a good think about it one week.
That's going to be too hard. I can't even think of one, like, because the other side of it is because my favourites. My favourites are probably Ducky from Minecraft. Ducky the chicken. the moment where in Minecraft, there's no aging process. They're either a chick or a chicken. There's no in between, and the moment where so basically we had a big pen full of like loads of chickens, and then we had one which we called just a few, yeah, one that we called Ducky, who managed to like jump through the window and get in the house, and we just kept him in the house, so he was our pet, and then he just spontaneously aged for no reason, but I sort of turned, he was Ducky for one moment, and then I turned around and turned back again, and suddenly he was this fat off chicken. And then
did you cook him?
Yeah, and then I think we might have ended up cooking him. Actually,
we may have killed him by accident. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine eating a chicken called.
And
Ducky.
the other one. Yeah, man, it's good cheese. And then Harold from Breath of the Wild, my horse. He was a lad.
I was
He's
thinking
dead
that
now, but...
horse from Breath of the Wild. Didn't you leave him on a beach and like sail off into the distance or something?
Yes, I did do that. Yeah, but there we go. We don't have to do it as a top 3 now, so we don't have to think about it.
Good one, dog meat. He's a good one.
Yeah, dog meat's awesome.
Oh, he's naff, man. He's just a little glitchy fool.
Okay, wow. I can't believe you dissed dog meat like that.
I can tell you the worst video game pet: the dog from Blair Witch.
You in that game, man. I thought you wasn't going to say it ever again about that game.
No, that's blasphemous.
Oh Jesus!
Oh,
hey!
I'm gonna buy you a Blair Witch T-shirt.
I swear to God, I'll burn it on the spot.
You might summon a demon if you do that. Careful.
Anyway, sorry, Kev.
Yeah.
So if people want to love us and just send some feedback and just ask us any questions, because we need some content.
So you can do it the way that Vicky has.
No, Kevin.
Yeah.
How do they do it?
You can do it on Facebook.com, praise the pickle. What? I was about to say that. You just interrupted. What? I don't know.
Yeah, because you started talking before I said, how do they do it?
Oh, okay. Or you can go to our Twitter, which is at praise the pickle. You can email us, praisethepicklepodcast@gmail.com. Or you can go to Facebook, facebook.com/praisethepickle, where, Vicky, I want to know what your favourite companion is.
Oh, yeah, she didn't actually say.
You didn't.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know that as well.
Yeah, and also, please subscribe on all your podcast platforms. And can you also, if you, from the kindness of your own heart, you lovely, lovely people, share. So if we post on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, please share. And also one more request. Okay, we do put in a lot of work for this. You only have to do 3 things. Okay, subscribe, share, and follow us on Twitter, please.
That would be.
We need some Twitch game.
Yeah.
Sweet, cool. So moving on, Mr. Daniel.
Oh, I forgot to get a news jingle ready.
No. Me and Kevin.
Yeah,
got it.
all right.
Don't worry.
Right.
Remember, we've rehearsed it.
Oh
right?
yeah, all right. You start it.
You ready? Right.
That was so good. That was truly incredible.
Oh, well, we did rehearse it, so.
So hyped.
We did rehearse it, so.
Yeah. We rehearsed that.
It sounded really good.
Kev, I can't believe we did it.
Oh my God! I'm on a high right now, man. I'm going to lie.
I'm going so hard right now.
When I had that jingle at the start, my face, man, it was like. I was like, what am I hearing right now? All right.
Oh, sorry. Go on, Dan. Go on.
Okay.
And you better make a jingle out of that, Dan.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Okay, on to the news. Welcome to the news. Let's start with Stadia. Stadia is launching on the 19th of November. Stadia is Google's state-of-the-art. I wonder if that's what Stadia means. State-of-the-art. Stadia.
An answer to your question, no.
Is their new streaming platform. They've given us a little bit more info about it, which is pretty cool. They've got this new buzzword now, which is negative latency.
Oh, this just sounds awful.
It sounds a little bit too good to be true, should we say?
It
So
sounds
they're
awful.
saying
It's not going to work. There's no way it's going to work.
So their claim is that within 2 or 3 years, the input lag on the Stadia, bearing in mind that your controller connects to the Wi-Fi, which talks to the closest data center, wherever that may be, which then processes on the game, which then comes back to your local network and then onto your screen. They think that in 2 to 3 years, that will be quicker than you pressing a button on your cable-connected controller on your console. That's their claim, which
I like
is
the optimism.
basically... yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds basically impossible. The only feasible way that they could do this is by using some kind of prediction model where it guesses what you're going to do. And we know that Google are an AI-driven company, which is all about this kind of thing. But it guesses what you're going to do and then does it before you even press the button. But that doesn't make any sense either. Like, what if you're doing a 15-button combo and the system goes, oh, you're 13 buttons in, we know what the next 2 are, we'll just do them for you, and you decide at the last minute to press the wrong button? Like, there's no
it
way
makes no
for
sense.
this
It's not
to
going to
really
work.
work.
Yeah, but
it's basic. Okay, what this news story has basically done has removed all confidence that I had in Stadia, okay, which wasn't very much to start off with, right? Because from the get-go, they were like, Stadia, there is no latency. That is it. It's amazing. It's the best thing. Why are they only coming out with this thing now?
Yeah.
The reason they're coming out of it now is because it's close to release and they're thinking, oh shit, guys, in next month, everyone's actually going to realize that we've been bullshitting this whole time and there is actually a significant amount of latency. So what bollocks can we, as Google, what can we say? Oh, negative, blah, 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 feedback shit.
Yeah.
And it's awful. It doesn't make, okay, so basically I've heard someone describe it to me. They basically said, right, so if they think, the system predicts that you're going to go left, so you go left, and that's fine. But then, so it's kind of like branching paths. But then if you go right, then it will do that instead. But surely that just means that you're going to have intermittent input lag depending on whether you're doing the next thing that the system thinks you're going to do.
Yeah, so this gets me onto the only way for this to ever work is for the system to have pre-mapped and pre-rendered every single possible result of any single button combination that you have, which requires an insane amount of processing power. Like, it would need to process where everything on the screen will be, where you will be, what direction you're facing in,
No,
for
but
every
that
single
still won't work,
possibility of
though.
button combinations.
Because
But in a way
you
it
still
would,
need
because-
because you still need user input to dictate what you're going to do. In which case, the second that user input is involved,
Yeah,
you
that's
have
actually
that
a good
input
point.
lag. There's no, it doesn't matter how many things you map out because the user still
Well,
needs to press a button to dictate what's going to happen in the game. And if that's the
there's
case, it's
always
not going to
going
work.
to be input lag. Like, there's no, this whole negative latency thing, like less than 0 milliseconds or 0 milliseconds, is literally impossible.
Yeah.
But
Unless you're
by
watching
doing
a
a
movie.
system,
yeah.
yeah, but then there's no input, so yeah. But I guess if they did pre-render every single result or every single possibility at once, which is, like, if you think about online games, that's a crazy claim to be able to do, but that would at least reduce the latency. It would reduce the input because that scene would be pre-rendered and lots of the things on the screen would be pre-predicted, and it would reduce.
Yeah, but then the
some
only
of it,
way
maybe.
The only way that would work is if all of those pre-rendered scenes was on your console to start off with. Because you still have to
that's
get
the
that
point.
information from Central. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter how many
That's the
pre-rendered things
point.
they do.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It would pre-render and then have it ready to go at the flick of a switch. So as soon as you press that button, your screen would change.
Yeah, but that's
the idea.
implying that they can pre-render every single possible thing in that moment that it takes me to press a button.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's almost impossible, but that's the only possible way for this claim to ever happen.
Yeah.
It would have to be like, it would only be a single frame at a time or so, maybe 2 or 3 frames, but it would be there waiting and ready, regardless of what you press. But that sounds literally impossible. Like, I don't know why they're claiming this. It's ridiculous, and it sounds like an outright lie to me.
It is. No, it's all lies. Did you know when they first announced the Stadia? Remember they said that your controller connects to your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's still
No,
true.
the only system that your controller will be wirelessly connected to is your phone, I think. Every other screen or platform that you want to use it through, you have to connect via a cable. So it's not even Bluetooth. At launch, you have to plug the controller in with a cable.
Oh man, this is gonna be the flop of the century. I cannot. I'm so excited for November 17th. I just can't wait.
Yeah,
because it's
fun.
like Dan, you're very tech savvy, and you know you've basically just told us the only way it's going to work is if they do this, but they haven't done that. They haven't. They can't collect enough data to do that because they're just entering the gaming scene now. It doesn't work. There's no way it's going to work. And like, okay, that might make sense for a fighting game where you can go forward, backwards, up, down, and buttons. But what about a game with 360 bloody first-person games? Like, how are they going to do
64
that?
players online where you have to map every possibility to every single player on the screen at once.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Honestly, right?
Yeah.
If Google Stadia actually turns out to have reasonable input lag, I think the other issue is as well is that okay, the input lag is one thing, but the service doesn't even look good anyway. Like they're not offering a subscription service. They're not competing with anyone. I just don't get it. Input lag's the one thing, and then that's the next thing. I just don't.
Although if there is no input lag, then this could be the start of something absolutely revolutionary.
Yeah, but like you said, it's literally technically impossible for there to be no input lag. So this isn't even hypothetical. It's not going to happen. So
and let's take this moment. Definition for those of you who don't know what input lag is the difference in time between you pressing a button on your controller and that action happening on the screen.
Which FIFA is probably one of the worst ones for it, and it's basically the biggest thing that people complain about all the time on it because it's a massive issue, and somehow EA have no idea how to fix it.
Kevin, you've mentioned FIFA every single episode.
I have to bring my bit in. Okay, you guys dumping it all the time. I have to put it even though I'm dumping on it myself, but still.
You are, yeah.
I'm just checking. Sorry if you can hear me typing. Oh, don't worry. Go on.
Okay, I'll go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Good luck, Google. The next one, Ben, you will be so happy to hear this. You probably already heard about it, but Silent Hill is finally releasing a new game. Or Konami are finally releasing a new Silent Hill game, I should say.
I have a feeling I might have seen this.
Oh, yeah. You've probably seen it. So, shall I tell you the official description? Here we go.
Yeah.
It's a 4-wager slot experience.
I've never been so upset in my entire life, honestly. You know what?
Everything, including its shape, screens, betting surface, and available merchandising, has been engineered to maximize both player experience and operational results. The latest cabinet is a first glimpse at great things to come from Konami. So it's basically a slot machine. Like an arcade. Ben, it's okay.
It's not okay, man. It's not okay.
But the fact that they said it's the great sign of things to come or something, that implies that there's more.
Yeah.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait for the pinball Silent Hill. It's going to be the shit.
Oh, that probably exists already.
I just want to say something, okay? We've recorded. This is episode 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've recorded 5 episodes, and on 2 occasions, you guys have said, Ben, you're going to like this one. Okay. There's that one, and the other one was when Kevin announced Ori and the Blind Forest Death Edition. So I'm not going to listen to you guys anymore when you say it anymore, because I'm done. All right. If you say I'm going to like it, it means I'm going to hate it.
No, I wasn't for that, was it? I thought it was for the crossover between Resident Evil and.
Oh, that's the third one then.
Oh, yeah, I read a bit more about that today, actually, the crossover. It looks very odd.
It does look very odd, doesn't it? So another thing that I was supposed to be excited about and just wasn't. But yeah, anyway.
Just to make you happy, Ben, I'll skim over that Silent Hill one and go on to the next thing, which is Call of Duty loot box news.
Woo woo.
So nice. The first thing that came out this week, Call of Duty related, was the studio art director, Joel Emsley. He posted on Reddit and said, sigh. There continues to be misinformed and incorrect info being pushed about Modern Warfare. What I can say right now is that we are definitely not working on any kind of supply drop or loot box system.
Yeah.
Also, functional stuff is unlocked through gameplay.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, we're planning to release info this week. Now, the thing that I want to highlight, sorry, that's end quote. The thing that I want to highlight about this tweet is the phrasing of, I'm going to read that first sentence again. What I can say right now is we are definitely not working on any kind of supply drop or loot box system. That's a very, very specific use of present tense.
Yep.
As if to say, we are not working on this thing right now, so don't worry.
Right now. We're not working on it currently, but we might just
Probably
grab the
posting it
one
on a
from
Sunday.
the last game, you know.
When the office is closed, yeah. But that's what he's implying. However, more news has come out since then. And that's that there is not going to be a loot box system per se. Instead, they're going for the battle pass.
Yeah, which I really like.
Fortnite and Apex. Yeah, I'm completely on board with that. I'm still sticking by my boycott of Blizzard, so I won't be buying this yet.
Oh yeah, we both cancelled our pre-orders by the way. Listeners, so.
Yeah, and this seems like a response to that backlash of people cancelling pre-orders.
Yeah.
Which
to be honest,
I mean, it's a good response in a way, in my opinion.
Oh, it's definitely a positive thing, yeah.
The only thing I'm worried about is, who did you say this guy was in the company, Dan?
He's a studio art director.
The art director. I'm not going to trust what the art director says personally. I'm gonna just. I don't imagine that he would know exactly what's happening in the the money making part of the team, because of the whole.
Yeah, but you got to remember that although Activision would make the decision, this is what you're saying, is that this is Infinity Ward's studio art director, the developers, the people that actually program and code the game and make the assets.
Yeah.
Even if Activision said, "Look, we're going to sneak loot boxes in," it would still be Infinity Ward's team of artists, etc., that would design and build that system. And studio art director is a pretty high up position. He probably does have oversight of what's going on in the studio.
Yeah, but I expect that the Activision would tell them later on, if that makes sense. Like, okay, for example, if Battle Pass doesn't pan out very well, do you guys honestly think that they won't put loot boxes in it?
They will. If Battle Pass fails, which I don't think it will.
I don't think it will either,
to be honest.
But I mean, to be fair, I think all companies should move over to Battle Pass. But Battle Pass solves the whole loot box issue, in my opinion. Like, it creates steady income for you, and you don't have the backlash of loot box. People spending massive amounts of money on it and stuff like that, and you don't have to worry about limits. It's just Battle Pass, £10 every 3 months for everyone. If you've got however many thousands of players, that is a lot of money every 3 months, and it's more solid income, which is the reason things like Game Pass and stuff exist, because it's just constant income.
Yeah. If the whole Blizzard scandal wasn't going on right now, I would be totally on board with this, and I would quite happily pay.
Yeah, I would have bought it. I would have bought it again, to be honest, if this Blizzard stuff wasn't happening. So
yeah. Let's see how this pans out. Another little bit of Call of Duty news is the file size of the download itself, which is pretty unbelievable.
It's madness, isn't it?
And 75 gigabytes. That's almost a quarter of a terabyte.
Jesus,
175 gigabytes.
Are you mad?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
I don't even understand how.
Even even GTA's not that big, and that's a stupidly big game.
GTA's like 50 gigabytes, isn't it?
Yeah, GTA's about...
That game honestly took me forever to download. I can't... I'm going to be downloading Call of Duty for about probably a year. The next one will come out, but I'm going to download it.
Yeah. Kevin, you're downloading from a potato, though.
Oh, and you're downloading from a tomato. What? Go away.
Oh!
Shots fired.
Pow pow.
I just want to say, I did give you that news, didn't I, Dan? I think that was one that I put.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's current news. That might be old.
I read
old
that
news.
somewhere as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
I just
cool.
put it in there because I have read that elsewhere.
They basically that got referenced when they were talking about the file size for Death Stranding, and they said Death Stranding is like 70 gigs or something, and then they were like, and Call of Duty is 175. So I don't know if that's old news or not, but I don't know.
That's just nuts. I can't even comprehend where that's coming from.
That's obviously a technical problem. I reckon it's something I'm not. So I'm not very tech savvy, but is it to do with not compressing things and stuff like that? The actual download?
I don't know. Potentially, that's one explanation, but even then, that wouldn't make sense because then the game wouldn't be able to stream high textures and things. Like, there's so many things that don't make sense with that. But there you go. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on from Call of Duty because I'm bored of it now. So, nice bit of news for me and you, Ben. You told me this. I had no idea, but Final Fantasy VII Remake will be playable at EGX this weekend.
I'm not worried about playing it. I just want to see it.
yeah, me too. If I can get a chance to play it, that would be amazing. But I feel like there's going to be some serious.
That's going to be one of the big ones. I mean, there's a few heavy hitters at EGX this year: Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, we need to get in there early and run around and just find all the really important stuff and get our name on the list as soon as possible. Because it's going to probably be some sort of booking system.
Presumably. I don't think they'll make you wait in line for hours. I don't think that'll be the case. But... No. Yeah, we'll get there for opening, but we can discuss that later.
Let us know next week. Oh wait, next week.
We're
going to do an EGX special, actually.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. It's cool.
Awesome. I'm going to quickly go over the Blizzard thing because I think we've spoken about it so much now. There's not much else we can say. So we know what happened. There's another team of American university students, team of 3 in a Hearthstone competition, I believe, who demonstrated in their own way. Basically, they were testing Blizzard to see if their rules applied to everyone, and they held up a sign during a match that said "Free Hong Kong, boycott Blizzard" during a match. The team did voluntarily drop out of future tournaments, but they have now been banned for 6 months, the same as the original Blitzchung. And basically Blizzard emailed them and said, every voice matters at Blizzard, and we strongly encourage everyone in our community to share their viewpoints in as many places available to express themselves. However, the official broadcast needs to be about the game and competition, and to be a place where all are welcome. Which is a good point.
That's a good point.
And that's if they dealt with Blitzchung in that way, this whole thing wouldn't have happened. That's what this is. That was my point last week. I was like, if you just did that and just explained yourself, no issue whatsoever. But it was just the radio silence and stuff was the fishy bit.
Yeah, exactly. Thinking about it, off the back of this, something I haven't written down but is worth mentioning is Nintendo's throwing of Blizzard under the bus a few days ago on Twitter, which was kind of funny.
Oh, what happened?
So the day before the Overwatch on Switch release, there was some sort of big event planned in New York at the one of the stores there, Nintendo store, I think it was in New York. Blizzard had an event planned for the launch of Overwatch, and the day before, Nintendo put up a tweet saying, the event in New York has unfortunately been cancelled by Blizzard tomorrow and will no longer be happening. And basically, Nintendo are no longer promoting Overwatch at all. It's not on their news page. It's kind of nowhere. Damn. It came out the same day as Witcher, which is being pushed to every possible angle by Nintendo. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing that well, and the general reviews of it on Switch are not very good.
My question is, do you guys think BlizzCon's going to happen?
Yes, but it will be very different in terms of the format.
Are you sure?
I think it's going to happen. I think it will just be a bit more like a Nintendo Direct or something like that, where they just show everybody what's going on, but don't allow the audience to engage with them.
Yeah, but it's a conference, isn't it? The audience are going to be there, whether they like it or not. So,
yeah, they won't cancel BlizzCon. No way.
I reckon they will.
Okay. Oh, let's fine. Gamble accepted.
Gamble accepted. That's the words of someone that's never gambled in their life. I accept your gamble. Cool. Yep. Next one. Hit it.
On from Blizzard. No more Blizzard news today. So on Sunday last week, Sunday last week, I went onto the Epic Store to download a game that I wanted to play, and couldn't get on the store. It wasn't letting me log in, and it was crashing, and I was getting error messages, and it kicked me out of the Epic launcher completely. And when I eventually got to the Epic Store through the website, it took me directly to the stream that everybody's been talking about, which is the Fortnite Black Hole. And this was on the front page of Twitch even. It was used to replace every element of Fortnite. Fortnite disappeared from the store. I think it was called "This is the End of Fortnite" or something like that. And also, they deleted the Fortnite official Twitter page. Deleted every single tweet from their past. So this is all part of an event.
I didn't know that much.
Which was signifying the end of a chapter. People that were inside the game during the event basically experienced this missile launch or rocket and meteors hitting the map. It was crazy to watch, actually. It was a really cool event. And eventually the world, including the menu screens and the maps from the game, all get sucked into this black hole. But what's interesting about this bit of news is how viral it went and how many people sat and looked at this black hole image for 40 hours it was there. I checked in every few hours because I was so curious about what the hell was going on. They were basically trolling everybody, but they were throwing in secret numbers.
They weren't trolling. Like, it was...
No, Twitch were. Twitch were definitely trolling people from time to time. They were putting memes up and throwing people off and teasing people. And yeah, just because it was such a long stream, the staff at Twitch were just having some fun with it. And obviously they were hosting other streamers as well, people that were talking about their theories. And
yeah,
it was an interesting event. It was, because nobody knew what the hell was going on. People obviously theorized that Fortnite 2 or Chapter 2 was coming out, which they were right about in the end. But it was just, it could go down as the most streamed event in history, or at least this year. Like, millions and millions of people ended up watching what was essentially nothing. So I must say, a little bit of credit has to go to Epic for this pretty remarkable marketing stuff.
Yeah, that was going to be my response was, you guys, I don't even know how much your marketing team make for Fortnite, but my days, they need a raise, man.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of work that they put in to, you have one map, and how they create a story around this map to change the environment and stuff. It's just incredible, man. Like, they're so good.
I think this was almost a retaliation or a response to the slight decrease in playing of the game. I understand the game wasn't massive.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
But the thing
wasn't it 52% revenue?
Yeah. So with that, but then they went from that to then just responding to it in such a way that no other company or game has ever done, and brought back. I mean, I think from what I can gather, it's brought back a lot of players. I still think there's a lot of people that have kind of lost their enjoyment over it.
I don't know, man. Like, even me, I don't even like Fortnite, and even I want to know what this Chapter 2 stuff's all about. Like, I just want to play it. And like, I've seen a lot of people that I've like a lot of other streamers and podcasters and stuff that I follow that all them are going back to it as well. And I think there is a post somewhere, I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but it was a news article saying they might have like completely 180'd their revenue drop, because apparently the amount of active players just went up so high after this thing.
Well, the word Fortnite was searched more times on Google on Sunday when this happened in the last year.
That's significant, isn't it?
So yeah, people went.
That's insane!
Nuts.
Oh my god, that's mad.
Yeah, people were going crazy. I was going crazy. I mean, I knew it was just a stunt. I knew it wasn't going to be anything drastic. Like, obviously, I knew that Fortnite wasn't gone like they were saying it was, but it was so interesting that it had gripped the internet so hard. Like, hey, everybody, Fortnite's gone. Everyone knew it wasn't gone, but the memes that were coming out of it and how quickly this spread,
it was madness.
I thought it was quite incredible.
It was definitely, yeah.
yeah, I thought that was a really interesting.
I might even give it a go. To be honest, I'm tempted because apparently there's matchmaking now, so it might actually be
that's
playable.
pretty cool. I didn't know. That's what I was worried about, is the skill gap.
Yeah, because remember we mentioned, I think it was in episode 1 or 2, that they're putting bots on it, and so it's basically you play against bots, and then you play against the worst people, and then it goes up, sort of thing. Like matchmaking, and
that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's the Smurfs I'd be worried about. You're going to get some crazy builders and whatnot.
Yeah, but if the matchmaking system's good, they'll have one game in the low one, and then they'll just shoot straight up to the high rank one. So it doesn't matter really, does it?
Oh yeah, good point. Good point. Cool. Okay, Fortnite news. Pretty exciting. So I have 2 more bits, I think. One of these you guys might not know about. I don't even know how interested you are going to be in it, but have you guys heard of a company called Analog?
I've heard of the word Analog.
They make retro gaming hardware, shall we say?
Oh, did they make the SNES and NES Mini?
Kind of. They made I don't remember what they were called, their particular products, but they did make versions of the SNES and NES. Okay, cool. But they were really, really high quality and really well built. Yeah. Now, this one to me is really, really exciting. So Analog, who make really, really high quality products, are making something called the Analog Pocket. So the Analog Pocket is a multi-video game system, portable handheld device. It's a digital audio workstation, or a DAW, with a built-in synthesizer and sequencer, which is nice for people like me, maybe not so much for you guys, and a tribute to portable gaming. Out of the box, the Pocket is compatible with the 2,780 plus Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance cartridge library. Cartridges, bearing in mind. The Pocket works with the cartridge adapters for other handheld systems too. So it works with Game Gear, Neo Geo Pocket, Atari Lynx, and potentially some more. And it doesn't use any emulation at all. So it's basically the Game Boy of the future. Now, before you look anything up, have a look. I'm going to send you guys a link to this. Have a look at some of the pictures.
I've actually looked it up as you were talking about it, and it looks
absolutely.
It looks
stunning.
clean. That's what I'm going to say.
It's so clean looking.
Oh
so
man,
the screen
that's like an Apple product.
The screen is
1440p.
The first in class. Yep, 615 dpi, 3.5 inch LCD with a 1600 by 1440 resolution. It has 10 times the resolution of the original Game Boy. Pro level color accuracy, dynamic range, and brightness. There has never been. This is what they claim. There has never been a display this advanced in a video game system. So not only is it supporting the original game cartridges from people's collections, but it upscales them at a professional level to look absolutely stunning, hopefully, on this display.
Hold on, wait, I need to mute myself so I can put myself on the mailing list. 1 sec.
I've just seen as well that you could put it down and hook it up to your TV.
Yeah, it also has a docking station, so you can place it on the dock, and you can upscale these retro games, portable games, to your screen, which is great for streamers and things because you can plug in a capture card. Isn't it crazy? It's
$200 as well.
$200? That's madness.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited for
that's day one, man. I'm pre-ordering it. I don't even care. Like that is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it looks so good. As well as a nice little synthesizer for people that like that sort of thing. Ben, I'm assuming you just heard me talking about the docking station.
Yeah.
You can also plug in any USB controller.
Oh my god! If this docks to 1440p as well, that would be insane. But I'm not going to ask.
I don't know how the upscaling of the dock
I'm not going to ask for too much.
They haven't released that information yet. The other thing that I'm concerned about potentially is the battery life of a screen that powerful, but I don't know. I think it'll be fine.
With how much effort they're putting into everything else, that would be a serious oversight from them. Well, I don't think that would be the case.
I haven't used any of their products, but for what I've heard, they've always been really, really high quality, well designed from the ground up. Pieces of kit.
Okay, yeah, cool. I'm getting that day one.
The Analog Pocket. I thought I'd announce that to you guys. Well, if you're getting it, then I'm just going to come up with yours. I want it as well.
But there's so Game Boy game. There's so many good Game Boy games I would want to play, man.
Yeah,
like all the old Zelda games.
To play them on a crisp screen like that with bright colours popping out of the screen. They say dynamic range, which means it might have like basically HDR. Yeah, I'm so hyped for that.
Have you showed it to John?
So hyped. That looks amazing. No, I'm planning to. He hasn't been home yet.
You have to show it to him.
I think I'm thinking surprise him with it, but we'll come to that.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more bit of news for you guys. I'm glad you're excited about that last one because I didn't want to sound like I was, hyped.
Well, I mean, it's got 615 PPI.
All right, it's good. Okay, it's good.
Crazy crisp screen.
That's insane.
There is an SD card slot. They're saying that you won't be able to play ROMs on it, but
yeah, come on.
Futuristic Game Boy is so excited. So one more bit of news. Have you guys heard about the Riot Games announcements?
I've heard of Project A.
Have you heard of the other ones?
No. Oh, a card game.
Okay.
Kevin mentioned it.
So basically, I will broadly speak of this. So Riot are going all in. It kind of looks like they're trying to take the throne from Blizzard by hitting every single esports market all at once. So not only is League of Legends having a mobile and console release called Wild Rift.
Wait, a League of Legends on console?
Yeah.
Console and
how's that
mobile devices.
I don't know.
They're redesigning it from the ground up, but it's basically League of Legends for consoles and mobile. So they're making a super polished version of that purely for consoles, but it's basically, from the looks of it, going to be the same game. Not only are they doing that, but they're planning to dominate the industry with a series of what appear to be esports tailored releases. So the first one is League of Legends Wild Rift. The second one is League of Legends Esports Manager. It's kind of like a football manager game, but you manage an esports team.
Oh my god.
Yeah, apparently they've done events like this on the website in the past, and they've been really popular. People have really enjoyed them. So
there's an esports manager game out already.
Yeah,
sorry, that was really loud, chair.
That's fine. There are. You're right. There are esports manager games out there, but obviously they're going to make a very polished one with, ties into actual data and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's one. The other thing they're releasing is something called Team Fight Tactics, which I think is only coming to mobile, which looks like a what's that? Is it auto chess or something?
Yeah,
the Dota thing.
Yeah, it looks kind of like that. So they're going to, and by the way, all of these games are set in the League of Legends universe. So they're just like blowing this universe up and expanding it.
Which I'm well up for, to be fair, because it's
I'm super excited about this.
Yeah.
Although
there's a lot of lore behind it.
We need to remember that Riot Games is owned by Tencent, which is another major Chinese company, but it's okay. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
The next one is a fighting game called Project L, which is all League of Legends characters in like a side-on proper traditional fighting game that's been really carefully tailored for esports again. There's another one called Legends of Runeterra, which is a card game that looks very Hearthstone-like you mentioned. There's another one called Project F, which is they haven't really shown much about this, but it looks like an action RPG, like a Diablo-esque, Torchlight-esque.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That could be.
But they've also talked about it being an MMORPG as well. So we don't really know what this is yet, but it looks like it could be a proper role-playing game.
If they went down the Diablo route, then it would be good. If they went down MMO route,
that'd be cool. Running around as A and Tibbers.
I think a sweet spot in the middle somewhere would be really good.
Maybe it's hard in a character-based game, though, I'd say.
Well, if you look at something like Lost Ark, which is a Korean game, that's kind of an MMO that's also a Diablo game, but it works really well. But yeah, actually, that's a good point. If they're specific characters that you're playing as, then seeing duplicates of yourself in the world would be really weird.
Yeah, it doesn't really
work. It might
work.
also be like a make your own character. We don't know yet.
Yeah, it's true.
I think making your own character might be better, and actually meeting the characters as NPCs in the game could be a better choice. But
yeah, it could be quite cool.
Who knows? We don't know much about that one. The one we do know a bit more about, but still not very much, is, as you said, Project A, which they're calling a tactical hero shooter. To me, this looks dope. This looks so...
It basically, to me, looks like if Overwatch and Counter-Strike had a baby.
Yeah, and maybe a bit of Siege as well. I mean,
Yeah, a little bit.
it seems to be taking the best bits of all those games and putting them
Yeah.
into one, from what I can tell. The
If it
graphics
has
look
the same
pretty
shooting
nice
as
and art
Counter Strike, I'm sold already.
It kind of does. Have you seen some of the gameplay? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
proper snap headshots and shotgun one-shot kills and things. But
Mm.
at the same time, you've got people, launching walls of water into the air and flying around with magic knives. And oh man, it looks so good. And what they're saying about it is that they're building it from the ground up to be really, really well designed on the netcode side of things, so that from the get go, it will be perfect for esports. It won't be very buggy. They're putting tons and tons of effort into anti cheat. And yeah, they showed some demonstrations of how far their netcode has come. So like we were talking about Siege a couple of months ago, Ben.
Yeah.
Like that was definitely a headshot. They're basically saying that will not happen in this game. Like
that'd be nice.
yeah, they're putting tons of effort into that. So yeah, Riot Games are going absolutely all
It's pretty
out.
mad, isn't it? That they've just gone like, all right, it's just released like 10 games. It's just mad.
Yeah. Oh, and there's one more thing I forgot to mention. They're also releasing an anime.
What? My God. Sorry, how many people have they hired to make all this stuff, man? Honestly. What? They go from this game that's like kind of, slowly petering out to then just releasing every single thing that anyone could ask for.
But again, remember, they are owned by Tencent, who are I think I looked them up the other day because I was looking up this news story. They are something like 37th richest company in the world.
Okay, yeah, so they're not that poor.
Yeah. Of like all, including like Apple and Microsoft, they're massive.
Yeah, they are huge. They own tons of like mobile game companies as well, which makes them a ton of money.
And they have shares in Activision and everything. They basically like have shares in pretty much like most game companies, to be honest.
Yeah, they're massive. So I am hopeful for this. I think it'll be a while before we see much of it release, and it probably won't all release at the same time.
Well, I hope not. That'd be ridiculous.
But I think pretty much all of these games, apart from maybe the traditional League of Legends Wild Rift and maybe the Esports Manager, the rest of those things seem pretty interesting. And I'll probably end up playing them.
I am intrigued,
yeah, cool. That's all I have got for you guys.
Cool, thank you. So, on to what we've been playing.
Oh, you do this every week. You're so bad.
Oh yeah, so it's because your sections. Wait, hold on. Let me just get my list up.
I just realised what he was
every week he's done.
Skipped over Kevin completely.
Every week.
It's because your section's so bad and it never works.
And people enjoy it. Thank you. So,
all right, hold on. Right, I've got my list.
So I think it's important, considering it's a gaming podcast. People want to know what.
Of course it's important. I'm joking. Of course it's important. Oh, another one you missed from last week, by the way. This should have been a blunder. You missed Concrete Genie.
What? I've never heard of that.
Thank you very much.
Concrete Genie, the PlayStation 4 exclusive. When you play as a kid with the paintbrush, it was a massive thing at E3.
Never heard of it.
Let's move on.
Hold on. Wait, what date? What date are we? 18th. Let me just find the right thing. Hold on. Getting there. Right.
So, the important ones I have found and have seen. We have Plants vs Zombies, the new one that's coming out on everything but the Switch. The Ring Fit's coming out.
Plants vs Zombies seems like a perfect Switch game.
Yeah, it really does. Maybe they've just got to iron the creases out or something, and then they'll bring it to that.
Maybe.
Kev, can I just make an observation?
No.
You are aware that this podcast comes out on a Monday, right?
Yeah.
So if you're doing games that are released coming the next week, you need to do until the
Yeah, you know what? Wait.
So Ring Fit Adventure should have been last week,
would have been
which is why I mentioned it last week.
Oh, okay.
So keep going further forward.
Okay. WWE 2K20 is coming out.
That looks so.
You're just going to name all of them now, aren't you?
No, I think that's a pretty big game coming out.
Yeah, but it's going to be absolutely
terrible.
terrible.
I saw a little clip of it of like someone's hair, and they've
Yeah, I
they've
saw
managed
that.
to go backwards in graphics and just terrible.
It's gonna be a while, that one.
Resident Evil is coming out on the Switch, 5 and 6.
Yes.
They're coming out. The Outer Worlds.
That's the week after. Kevin, what is your time
No, that's
frame?
not the week after. That's not what I saw on the week after.
They both come out on October the 29th, but yeah, go on.
Okay, I just did not say that online. The Outer Worlds.
Hey, he's got one of the heavy hitters. All right, he's doing well. Come on.
I saw that and I was like, I recognise that name from something. So,
Can I just mention as well that that's going to be on Xbox Game Pass on day one?
I know.
So excited.
I'm pre-installing it. I'm playing it. It's happening. I can't wait.
The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel 2.
What's that?
I'm not sure, but it was meant to be one of the bigger ones. No, I'm not listing all of them. No.
I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. Kevin, I promise.
I went on one website and it kind of outlined the bigger ones, and that was one of the bigger ones it outlined. And then I went on another one where it got the more smaller ones and stuff.
All right, go on. Keep going.
And then I'm gonna guess the last one I found anyway. It was Modern Warfare that's coming out.
Is that this week?
Yeah, 25th.
Aha!
All right, so you got 2 of the 3 heavy hitters, so
okay.
That's
what's the third
passable
one?
grade, I suppose. Medieval on PS4. And Kevin, you even said you were excited about that. So how did you miss that?
No, he thought we said something else. Remember, he got confused.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, with the game. I can't remember what.
Medal of Honor.
Well, that's a
Medal of Honor. That's right. Kevin was like, "Oh yeah, I used to play that online all the time." I was like,
another big old release. Sorry, give me a sec. Just make sure he hasn't missed anything else. Because I'm sure he has.
You're being checked, Kevin.
Apparently.
He has to be, man.
Can't just be a free flowing having fun, can we?
Well, no.
We are people's number one source for gaming news. We need to be accurate.
Exactly. Wait, this website only goes up to what? Okay, don't worry. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything.
Oh, thank you very much.
But you missed Medieval, so you still suck.
Fair play.
Okay, so now on to what we've been playing. Let's start with Kevin. Go for it.
This should be very disappointing for the fact I haven't played anything new this week at all.
That's all right.
So me and Ben played a bit of Gears of War again.
Yeah.
Which
did any of you play as Dave?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
No.
But my God, does that game go on? We played the same level. I'm pretty sure I joined Ben in the middle of a level. I'm not sure, but
you joined me like halfway through the first part of Act 1.
Yeah, and I think after about 2-3 hours of playing it, we still wasn't even out of it.
And you know, Kevin, I played it for another hour yesterday, and I've still haven't completed Act 2.
So I mean, you know, if you love Gears of War and stuff, and I'm assuming, I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I was playing it, it was quite fun. I quite enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy there was a lot of nothingness, a lot of opening doors and going through small cracks and stuff. But
yeah, it was a bit dead, man.
Yeah, but
so I've just put the same thing that it feels nostalgic still, but it's just a bit dull. I don't know. There's just a lot of nothing. Yeah, like you said, it's probably a perfect description. A lot of nothing. Except it was really funny when we were getting when the boulders were rolling down the hill. Those bits were terrifying.
It's like it's one of them things that has just not been in a single Gears of War ever, and then they just add so Dan, they added this bit where boulders come rolling down a hill, and you have to dodge out the way of them.
Sounds like a Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. Oh my God. Exactly. Yeah. And
and we just kept getting crushed by it.
Oh, it's brilliant.
In classic Gears of War fashion, where your body just explodes.
And then the other one, I've been playing SimCity, which
SimCity.
Oh, City Skyline. Oh, I get them two mixed up.
I thought you went into SimCity.
No.
So what?
No, I carried on my City Skyline, and it's still the same progress and stuff. I play it as like a little time passer. It's quite a chill game, so
yeah.
And then I think we played Overwatch. I can't remember what day we played
we
but
did.
we jumped on, played a little bit of Overwatch. which I quite enjoy it as a game of all play. Actually, also,
It's good fun.
I played about 2 games of the new Apex game mode they've got.
Oh, cool.
Where
How was it?
it was thoroughly enjoyable. It was something that is very, very different, but it was basically this new game mode on Apex Legends. Your goal is to get to this dropship, but you have to be one of the last 10 left in order to get onto the dropship. So you initially have to kill other players, but those players turn into these things called shadows. And these shadows, they don't have guns or anything, but you basically go flying through the sky as a shadow, and then you have to hit the people and attack them and stop them from getting onto the ship. And if you stop, and as soon as one person gets onto the ship, then it's game over and you lose as a shadow. But if you manage to kill everyone and get them, if you kill everyone and no one gets on the drop ship or the getaway ship, then you win. And it was quite enjoyable. It was scary.
Sounds quite cool.
Very scary. Like you can hear these things everywhere, man. They're just dropping left, right, and centre. Because as soon as you kill them, they just spawn again. They come flying down from the sky, and they're so quick.
Is it a Halloween event or?
Yeah, Halloween event.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? Apex, EA have put quite a decent amount of effort into Apex. You know.
Respawn have put quite a lot of effort in, yeah.
Okay, Respawn have put quite a lot of effort into it. I mean,
put quite a lot of money in.
Even even small things as they have little I want to call them kind of loot boxes inside the game that when you hit them you get extra, almost like a chest. That when you open it or you hit it, you get like extra better equipment and stuff. And they've made them scared of the shadows because they have like a little light, like an eyeball on them, and they whimper when one of these shadows is near them. And it's attention to detail that I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, Respawn are really good at that sort of side of games, to be fair.
Yeah,
because they did Titanfall, even down to the things where you could just press a button and it instantly appear in the Titan, but instead they worked on all the animations of the Titan picking you up and putting them in and all that stuff. So
yeah,
that was such a good game. Titanfall 2, Titanfall 3 soon, please give me Titanfall.
I don't know if it'll happen, man. Apex is out now, so
I'll keep praying.
Cool. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, go on, Danny boy.
I haven't played that much this week. One of the games I really, really want to talk about, I have to save until next week.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm still looking forward to talking about it. Basically, a game called what's it called again?
What Remains of Edith Finch.
What Remains of Edith Finch. Not usually my sort of game, but I loved it so much that I immediately forced Ben and his wife to play it. So, yeah, we'll get onto that for next week. This week, all I've played is I played a little bit. Obviously, Overwatch with you guys. I played a little bit of a free game on the Switch, racing game called Asphalt Legends 9 or something.
I've played one of those on the mobile. It's really good.
Yeah, it's good for mobile. The thing that worried me about that game is it looks nice enough. The gameplay was good enough, but the idea of playing a mobile game on the Switch platform just felt so dirty and wrong. There was a point where the UI is so complicated. There's loot box things everywhere and unlock this and time locks on that and everything else. The racing itself was fine. It wasn't amazing. It was fine, and it probably would have been a good standalone racing game if it was just a racing game. But there was a bit in the main menu where it looked like a fuel tank type thing, and I did like 2 races, and it said 3 out of 5, and I was like, I wonder what happens if I click on it. And it went, your car is now refueling, and you can race again in 7 minutes or something. I was like, and I had no other cars, so I had to sit there and wait for 5 minutes before I could race again. And at that point, I just uninstalled the game because no, I don't like that. I don't like that all these mobile games have been ported to Switch. It's not a platform for that, and I don't.
No, it feels like an invasion, to be honest.
It does.
All these free-to-play mobile games just getting on the Switch just to get more money, and it's just like, no, stay off my console, man.
I agree. I do not recommend that, and even though I haven't played the card game, the Hearthstone-like card game called Eternal or something, I think I also do not recommend that game, even though I've not played it, because I know it's a mobile game. And
I did look at it, I haven't played it. I saw it on the Discover section, and I was like, I do miss Fortnite, bloody hell, Hearthstone.
I almost
but I'm
downloaded
not
it,
gonna.
but as soon as I realised its origin as a proper hardcore mobile game, was I'm good.
Magic the Gathering Arena. Hurry up and get on Switch.
That would be nice on Switch. That's actually a really good card game. I played quite a lot of that on PC. The only other game that I've played is Borderlands 3, which I was really hoping you guys would join me for, but obviously that hasn't worked out for various reasons. That game, man, I'm a big Borderlands fan, so maybe I'm a bit biased, but it's so much fun. I'm loving it so much. And the story is weak, but that's the only thing that's weak. Everything else about this game is so good. The environments are stunning. The gunplay is really, really solid. The variety of weapons is. I thought I'd get bored of it pretty quickly. Like, it's another pistol.
Oh, you can't. But how far are you into this?
I'm level 15. I don't know how far that is into the game.
Because I'm like a free bird going to be from now on. So I might actually pick it up. I mean, I have tomorrow and Sunday, and I might pick it up and do it, man.
Yes, join me. It's so good, man. Like I don't think anybody talks about this, but the soundtrack is. The soundtrack is so hype. It just is so good. Like, I literally went into the options and turned everything down to like 30% and left the sound on 100 and cranked my headphones up, and I'm having so much fun with it. But yes, the characters are weak. Yes, the story is not great. It doesn't make you laugh as much as it used to, because I remember Borderlands 1 and 2 being absolutely hilarious, right? And this one, the comedy, there's so many like little jokes and remarks that don't quite hit the mark. Like, they kind of fall a bit short. But the actual core gameplay is great. And the boss fights are next level good. Like, so interesting and so well designed.
Not too much more, man. I want to jump on.
Yes, do it. I would literally. I'm enjoying it so much that I would happily start again and just play with you from level 1. Yeah.
You know what? Depending on what time you get back from EGX, I'll have it downloaded and maybe get to level 15.
Oh yeah, if you could do that, even better. Because late game it gets better and better.
Yeah,
the gear drops. I've had a couple of legendaries and they're so much fun. And mate, yeah, I'm so hype about Borderlands 3 now. I know everyone was talking about, and there's no loot boxes, none. There's not a single in-app purchase at all. There's nothing that you can buy in the game. Man. Everything is just there, and the cosmetics and stuff. Like, the first legendary I got was like a costume, like a body costume for my character, and it's all neon. And it's got like moving cosmic patterns on it, and I was looking at it closely, and the name of the item is like I think the name of the item is literally why not, or something like that. And I looked closely at like the space effects on the armor, and I realized that there were like little cats floating across it, like photographs of cats just floating across the armor. It's just bizarre, but oh man, I'm so hyped about that game. I'm having so much fun with it. I'm hooked.
It's so bonkers,
so deeply hooked on that game. It's solid. Like, the shooting is solid. It's yeah. Get on that, both of you. Get on that.
It ain't happening, I'm afraid.
Oh man. Anyway. Borderlands
you guys play that, and I'll play Outer Worlds. It's fine.
I'm playing Outer Wilds this week as well, probably.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have played this week. So on to you, Ben. I hear you've got a bit of a list.
You heard wrong.
Oh, okay.
I have played barely anything this week. I've played Gears of War 5 with Kevin, and I've already spoken about it, so that's that one off the list. And then the only other thing on the list is, so I went upstairs yesterday, got into bed, turned the Switch on, opened the store, and I was like, I need a new Switch game. All right. And 2 games came up, both exactly the same price, one of which was Little Town Hero, which I've heard mixed reviews about.
Likewise.
And the other one was Felix the Reaper, which is the dancing Grim Reaper one that we mentioned last week. I was like, I nearly bought Felix the Reaper, right? I was like, I'm going to have a think about it. Went downstairs, opened up Game Pass, and it's on Game Pass. So I just saved myself £22.
I had no idea that was on Game Pass. That's
it came straight. Game Pass day one. Yeah. And I have one problem with it.
That's pretty good.
I really like it. The puzzle side of it's really good, like really hard. It gets really hard really quick. And you have to basically stay in. Now, let me explain what it is for people that don't know what it is. Basically, you play as the Grim Reaper, and you kind of look like Baymax from Big Hero 6, and you have to go to the surface. They call it, like, from hell or whatever to the surface, and you basically have, when people are supposed to die, you have to create their death situation. So, like, I don't know, put them. If time freezes and you have to, like, put them in front of, like, it's a puzzle game, but you have to, like, put them in front of, like, I don't know, someone's throwing a spear, and you have to move them in front of the spear so that they die and stuff. But you can only stay in the shadows. You can't move into the light, and the only real mechanic is that you swap the direction the light's coming in. So you have to use that and put things in certain places to create shadow paths and stuff so that you can do stuff. And all whilst dancing, because you play as a really happy Grim Reaper who just really loves dancing. And
I mean, that's cool. Who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me. And my only quarrel with it is that he doesn't dance in time to the music.
Oh, what? Are you mad?
So much. That's not acceptable.
It's not, is it?
No.
He dances. He basically his movement is dance. Yeah. So when you're moving, he dances, but the background music is not synced up with the dancing, or vice versa.
Oh, that's just wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, it drives me a little bit mental, to be honest. But apart from that, it is really good fun, and the puzzle aspects of it are really good. Like by the 5th level, I was like, "How on earth am I supposed to do this?" And it was like a really complicated way of doing it. It was very good. Would highly recommend on Game Pass. I wouldn't recommend paying £22 for it just yet. I haven't delved into it enough. And then the other game we've been playing is What Remains of Edith Finch, which we'll be talking about next week. So yeah, that's the end of what we've been playing. So now, next week. No, what am I doing? Yes, sorry. So now we're going on to our game of the week.
Yeah.
So we have actually swapped games because Dan kindly gave Kevin a nice short game that he could play quite quickly, and we gave Dan a 15-hour game that and he was going to complete it until we had to do 7.5 hours of editing for the last podcast. So so they've swapped basically because Kevin's already had enough of Stanley's and Dan hasn't finished. So they've swapped. So next week will be Evil Within, and this week is Stanley's Parable with Mr. Kevin. We are now entering the spoiler-heavy zone for Stanley's Parable. So if you haven't played it or want to play it or have any sort of, don't know whether you want to play it or not, look at the show notes and skip to the end of the show, okay? Because this is the end of the content for you, I'm afraid, because this is it. This is all we have left to talk about. So,
well, skip to the end because there's probably a couple of announcements that you might want to hear.
I'll quickly go. So if you don't skip to just in case you don't skip to the end, 2 announcements. Me and Dan are going to EGX next week, which is going to be next week you mean tomorrow even, which is going to be lit. Yeah. So we would have gone, which means we're going to be doing an EGX special during the week, which won't be very long. It'll be a shorter podcast, just telling you about how EGX was, basically, what we saw, what we played, etc. And then also next week we're going to be having a guest on our podcast. Some of you might know her as Ben's wife. Her name is in fact
the amount of people that get so giddy.
Yes, so my lovely wife Charlotte will be joining us next week because she has been playing Link's Awakening and she should have completed it by then, and she's also she played What Remains of Edith Finch with me, so we'll be talking about that next week as well. She will be guesting for the whole thing though, so because she has lots of interesting thoughts on news normally. She's always discussing it with me afterwards, so she'll be on for the whole thing next week. Exciting. So it'll be
it's going to be good.
Yeah, 4-man podcast next week. Those are the two announcements. So on to Stanley's Parable. Kevin, take it away.
Okay. So Dan, you're gonna have to hold your. Just remain as calm as you possibly can.
Okay, guys,
right?
I'm giving you guys a metaphorical speaking cushion. Okay, so you're only allowed to speak when I say that you can have the cushion. I'm serious because I'm not letting this lead to an argument.
I'm gonna try and look. I've tried to look at this as my experience as me as a person and what I can imagine people that aren't as just that do like story games and I can have to explain it. Like I'm very particular these days with what I like. Okay, so for people that don't know what Stanley Parable is, this is what I've wrote it down as. Dan, you can correct me as if you really want. I said.
Oh, I will. Don't worry.
It's
not until you get the speaking cushion.
It's a narrative-driven game, literally, whereby you have someone narrating the game to you. He tells you what step you should be making next. It tells you exactly what he wants you to do. It's a simple game, meaning you can which it's also a very simple game, meaning that all you do is look around, move around, and with the occasional pressing of a button. You also do have the ability to make your own decisions. You haven't got to follow what he does, but that's part and parcel with the game. Okay, yeah. So
right, Kevin, give me the speaking cushion. Dan, here you
go. That was a really good summary.
Cool. All right, speaking cushion back to me. There you go, Kev.
Yeah, no, that was a good summary. That was good.
Oh, I feel really happy about it. I don't want to stop there. I've got my approval, a little bit of approval. Okay, so what I expected from the game. Okay, so all I know of the game is the small a little bit that I've watched of it. Okay, where I thought that you just walk around, and if you disobey what the person is talking to you, narrating everything to you, you just go back to the start, and you just have to repeat it and try and do what he wants you to do, basically, in some way. That's all I really know what it was. Okay, reality, it was kind of similar in a way, except I didn't realize that depending on what you do, changed your ending. So this game has, what I'm going to say, 50 endings or something. I don't know how many endings this game has got. It's got a lot of endings, and you can do tons and tons of different things in order to get these endings. Which, that idea is very cool, because if you're very limited to what you can do, but depending on your actions and the way you do these actions depends on what the next stage in your story is and how you move to the next stage, almost. If that makes any sense at all, it probably doesn't. And the idea behind it was cool, and I didn't realise that when I was playing it. But I feel, I don't know, this doesn't really go into why. It's so tricky.
It's really trying.
No, it's so tricky because obviously when we've got the structure, I want to put the pros and this bit into the pros and cons, the bit I want to try and say right now, but I need to get more.
Okay, what was the reality of the game?
I just said I said that it is simply you walk around and you have different, and you can either do what you want this guy to do, or you can make your own choices. Well, actually, if anything, you do make your own choices, but you can choose to listen to him or disobey him.
Cool. And with so there you go. That's the reality. So now what are the pros and cons?
The pros and cons. Okay, pros is it's a very clever game, and I like the idea that it does let you make your own decisions. It's a simple game, so you don't have to. It doesn't require much skill. Doesn't require much. You haven't got to practice or anything or repeat. Well, I guess you can repeat it over and over again to get different endings. And the fact that it has this many endings, and depending on what you do, I mean, when I say it has different endings, it means like you can die, you can go to different places, you can You can escape in a pod. You can escape the map. You can go to heaven. Just, there's a bajillion different endings. There's even a whiteboard ending where you literally stand in a room and it says the whiteboard ending, which is, was a bit of a random one. I like the idea that there is no other game I've never even heard of a game anything close to this kind of game. It's very unique and it's cool that it's unique. Also, I like the idea because in this game, it's obviously a spoiler bit. You go to a museum. This was my very first ending I got. Went to a museum, and in this museum, it had every single little piece of this map, and it basically looking at this, and it opened my eyes to what the game was. That no matter no matter what you do, there was always an answer, and the game always knew what your steps were. For example, when you do this, get to this museum ending bit, you go into this room and it tells you what the steps are that you have to be taking and what steps you're going to be taking, which is really cool because it just knows exactly what's going to happen. And yeah, so that's the cool bit, and I like the overview. That I think that's like the good pros about it. My cons is that it lost its fun quick for me because, and I think the main reason for that is that there's only so many endings you can have without having to look something up. For example, you could go so far, and then you could start disobeying him, and you can disobey him from the beginning and obey him, and but in order to get some of these endings, you'd never know to do this stuff unless you was to look it up. And not only that, you do. You just, I feel like, okay, I'm going to say this, and I said this before, and Dan got very annoyed. But the gimmick behind it, it did lose its touch quite quickly because of how just simple it was. Just how all you have is WASD, you look around and you have the occasional, I think you press an action button and that's it. Which for me, it's not that fun of a thing to do. I'd rather be able to do something else. I understand that's not the point of the game, but that's why it got boring for me.
All right, Dan, here's your speaking cushion.
Thank you. I agree with all the pros. I mean, I guess my question is how many of the endings did you find yourself?
Okay, how do I... I'm going to try and mention all the ones I did, okay? So, I went to heaven.
1.
I went to that museum.
2.
I went into the escape pod.
3.
I exited the map through the window.
4.
I had the whiteboard ending.
5.
I had the closet one. I quite like the closet one. That was quite funny.
Whatever 6 is in Spanish.
Quite a few then. So it's not like you just played it like.
No, but I'll be honest with you. I didn't realise it had as many endings as it was until you did say that. So me personally, I would have quit after I think.
Okay.
Probably, basically, what I did is I obeyed him and then I disobeyed him, and then I was just a bit like, okay, what else is there to do? And then you said about all these endings. And I was like, okay, I'll.
Did you play the baby game?
I didn't know.
Okay. So I guess what I find so interesting about this game is, I agree with everything you've just said, by the way, particularly the fact that there isn't many mechanics. It's kind of a boring game in that sense, like in terms of the things that you actually do. But the interesting part to me is that it's a pretty deep exploration of what free will is, and the contextual narration of the narrator is so smart. Like, the broom closet's the obvious one. Like, you go in the broom closet. So Ben, you haven't played this, I don't think.
Ben? Nope, have not. I do want to play it though.
Oh, well, this is like heavy spoilers.
No, it's fine. Basically, if you don't say the part I'm interested in is what I need. I basically I want to play it without looking at guides, and I want to walk around this office, wherever you started, and just be like, I wonder what happens if I do this. That's basically what I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be a bit more careful with that then. So you can wind up the narrator. So as Kevin said, the way it starts is Kevin was in his Stanley was in his office doing his work, and he was thinking about this, and he felt this way. And as the player, you're like, yeah, whatever. But after a while, you're like, hold on a minute, I don't feel that way. What's this guy talking about? Why is he telling me how I feel and what I should be doing? And then he's like, and then Stanley stood up and walked to the door of his office and opened it. And then stand up and you walk to the door and you open it, or you don't. Like one of the endings that you may have missed, Kevin. This isn't really much of a spoiler, Ben. Is you can just refuse from that point.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I looked up, but I tried doing that and nothing happened, and I got bored. So
okay. Yeah, so that's the sort of, but that's what I thought was so exciting about this game is that if you don't look things up, yes, you're right, you can only naturally find some of the endings. There's no way you could find all of them because there are so many little secrets and things. But the fact that you can do that at any point, you can follow the narration, follow the storyline, and literally it's like a dotted line in the floor. Like just follow the dotted line and reach the end of the game, and that's it. But at any point, you can just diverge off that, and the game is designed in such a way to accommodate that. So, like the one at the start, if you do get it to work, is not a very exciting ending, but it does kind of prove a point. You can just shut your office door and sit back at your desk and go, "Nope, ain't going nowhere." And the narrator's like, "What are you doing, Stanley? Like, get up." And then Stanley stood up and he opened the door and he left, and he'll start getting really pissed off at you. But there are so many little moments like that in the game, like standing in the broom closet and just locking yourself in the cupboard. And he's like, "What the hell are you doing, Stanley?" And there's if you get to a certain point in the game, one of the deaths that you can find is you go up a flight of stairs and jump off. And the voice of the narrator, Ben, is very, in a way, it's similar to the voices in Senua's Sacrifice in Hellblade, where they're kind
in your
of
head.
in your head and talking about what's going on
Yeah.
Around you at that moment in time. And there's something really fascinating about that. And it's quite an old game. It's been around for quite a while now. By the way, Ben, it's in Humble Bundle this week, I believe.
Is it?
Just so you know. I believe
Ooh,
so.
I'll have a look.
Some, isn't it?
Yeah, you missed that, Kevin. Sorry, mate. Yeah, I can see what you mean by it being boring, but there's also, as you say, there's probably quite a lot of the game that you didn't experience, and they are just the same sort of thing. You're just walking around and, follow a guide to do this ending and naturally discover this one yourself. But the reason I asked about the baby game is, you talked about leaving the map at one point. What did you mean by that? Did you mean the office window?
Yeah.
So that's like a weird kind of glitch ending. But the game does get kind of weird like that. So the baby game that I'm talking about, which I won't spoil too much, kind of gets you almost behind the set of the game. So you know how the museum is, it lays out the map and the assets and the various objects and switches and buttons and things that you find around the world. The baby game area or ending is kind of like walking behind the set of a play, and you can see almost how the whole thing is constructed and why it's being constructed. And all of these little endings, I think it's worth highlighting to people that are listening, if you haven't played it, that it's not like a game where you have your ending and that's it. The whole game is designed around replaying and restarting and replaying and restarting and trying all the different possible variations of actions that you can do in that moment. And there's something a little bit profound about that, I think. Being able to do the exact same thing for 99% of the game, and then at the very, very last minute, do something slightly different. And just seeing how that changes the events. Yeah, and all of the endings some of them are a bit weird. Some of them don't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
And some of them do kind of build up a bigger picture of what this game is. And in a way, it's kind of an experiment of, following orders, not following orders, doing what you want to do, feeling like you're in control, but then realizing that you don't actually have any control in the first place and you're following what was always a predetermined path anyway. And I don't know if I'm making any sense here, but that very kind of minor detail, that niche of what is free will in a video game, it's something that this game explores so well, and it's a shame to miss that and to just play it as a walking sim and not not
classic
see the
Kev.
intricacies of how it's designed. No, I'm not saying you did, because obviously you did get it because you played through it and you experienced different endings, and I actually agree with everything that you said. But yeah, I just think it stands out as one of the most interesting experimental games. I think I would call it an experimental game that I've ever played.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I wanted you to play it, I think, because I felt like it's something that you probably haven't played before.
It's a very different type of game that I play.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is probably one of the reasons I did get a little bit like, it's kind of.
Sure. That's always the risk, though, isn't it? When you give somebody a game
Yeah.
they're not familiar with.
But isn't that the whole point, though, isn't it?
That's what I was going to say. Like, the reason we're doing this is to share games that we love with the other people, so that you can experience something new. If I said to, like, Kevin, your suggestion of Escapist 2 is good, because that's not the sort of game I'd normally play. I don't really play open-ended games. I don't really play those sorts of games, to be honest. So that's kind of what we're trying to achieve by doing this. So whether you liked it or not, it's still a good thing, I think.
Yeah, and whether you like it or not, it's almost irrelevant. It's just the idea of experiencing something different.
Yeah, speaking about whether it's irrelevant or not, Kevin, do you want to move on to your fourth point?
Yes, would I recommend it? So I'd put this in two categories. I'd recommend it if you don't mind, if you have a bit of patience, you don't mind exploration, you don't mind the idea of the free will and essentially what we just spoke about. But if you're very much a person like me, I mainly go towards competitive / multiplayer. I'm not too much of a single player kind of person, and you don't mind the fact that you literally just walk around, and you don't like the fact you just walk around. That's all you do. Then I'd say just skip over it, mate. You know what? It's not even that bad of a thing to watch. I think I preferred watching someone play the game than playing it myself.
Yeah,
which
that's fair.
Maybe, I think that's more of my own doing, because I'm too much of a. I need something to play for, or I feel like I need to be better than someone else.
So,
in
essence, if you preferred Dan's opinions, then Kevin would recommend it. If you preferred Kevin's opinions, then he'd say he doesn't recommend it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a bit of a cop out, but fine.
No, makes sense.
Dan, did I cut you off a minute ago? Was you going to say something?
If I did, I can't remember what it was.
If I did cut you off, I'm sorry.
have you got an opinion on this, Dan? Ben, sorry.
I want to play it, so but it's well up my street. To be fair, I have no issue of walking simulator games at all. I mean, I play a lot of horror games, and most of those are walking sims, so it doesn't really faze me. I like the fact that it's open-ended but still contained, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's still a limited amount of endings. It's not just a open-ended thing that could go on forever. So I'm definitely going to give it a go.
I think it's fair to say that it is Source Engine, but also the comedy kind of reminded me of that witty comedy in Portal in a way. So if you liked Portal, I think you quite like this.
Yeah. Okay, I have two questions. Well, no, one question actually. Kevin, are you buying a new PC?
I believe so.
Okay, cool. Because Dan, I had another idea for a game for him, but I don't want him to experience that game on a standard definition one. Let me quickly message you what it is, so the listeners can get gauge your enthusiasm for it. Hold on, this is great content, I know.
You always make the awkward moments. Honestly,
I know. I live for them.
Even your typing. So, guys, this is Praise a Pickle podcast. I have to fill it with something. I am
Dan, I've WhatsApped you.
A secret singer. Here we go. And
Keep going.
Oh Jesus! No, that was it. That's the
First
start
one.
and the end of my song.
What's happening?
That was amazing.
Ben, yeah, I mean, it's big. That's my only concern. Like, really, really big. I know, you get that a lot.
Is that Skyrim?
No. I'm not going to recommend Skyrim to complete it for 3 weeks. That's bonkers. All right, fine. So, Kevin, your game for the
I'm
next
getting nervous, man.
3 weeks.
My bladder's about to explode. Nervosity.
Your game, Nervosity. That's almost as bad as narrative.
I picked up on that as well.
The narrative. Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough.
I didn't have the speaking cushion, so I couldn't say anything.
Speaking cushion is a thing. Oh, hold on. Wait, guys, Philip.
Ooh, hold on. Beep.
Philip.
Philip. Who's Philip?
Hey guys.
Sorry, Matthew Kemble Cook. I just used a full name. I'm sorry. Has
classic. Can't go for an episode without Ben using anyone's names. It's their date of birth. It's where they live.
Shut up.
Oh, can we leave that for next week, man?
Yeah, I'll leave it for next week. Don't worry. So yeah, Kevin,
Okay.
your game for the next 3 weeks is Void Bastards.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, it sounds dreadful.
What? How does that sound dreadful?
How can you tell that from a title?
Void Bastards? Are you crazy?
Got a swear word in it.
Oh my god, this game was weird as shit.
It is.
God.
Kind of looks like Futurama.
Are you looking at the picture, like the cover art picture?
No, I typed Void Bastards in Google and going to images.
Okay. Well, if you don't like this one, then there's something seriously wrong with you. Because it is. Me and Dan have both played. Have you completed it, Dan? Okay.
No.
We've both played it. I thought it was amazing. I completed it. It's a bit
Alright.
more open ended, so you might like it a bit more. Dan, what did you think of it?
I really liked it, particularly
Yeah,
atmospherically. And I think it's a pretty good introduction to roguelikes in a way.
Yeah, so that's your game, Kev.
Alright,
and it's on
cool.
Game Pass, so don't buy it.
Oh, decent, double decent.
Yeah, but you should really like this one. Like you like games like Binding of Isaac and stuff like that, and this has that random generated style to it, but with a progressing loot system and stuff. It's really, really good. I loved it. I banged it out in like a week. It was so good.
All right, cool, decent.
Yeah, and it's got this really. I won't say anything more. Yeah, cool. That's your game.
Yeah, don't look too much up. Just play it.
Yeah,
as always.
Okay, so this is the end of the show. So this is the point where all these gangsters that want to play Stanley's Parable or have played it, or haven't played it, are jumping back in. So hello everyone that missed that bit. In essence, Kevin, would you recommend it?
Do I have to go again?
Not the whole thing, just yay or nay.
60%.
60%. There you go. 60% recommend. So
take of that what you want.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, this is the end of the podcast. How have we done? We're doing all right.
About 2.5 hours, probably.
Are you asking about time? Yeah, 2 hours, 38 minutes.
That's not bad. Cool. So yeah, this is the end of the podcast. Thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully the sound quality is better this week and doesn't require Dan to do mad post-editing stuff. Well,
both of your audio tracks stopped recording about 2 hours ago, so let's hope
It
that's
says
okay.
it's recording on mine.
It says recording, but my file size is going up to like 151, 152, and yours is both stopped at 52.
Oh God. Oh man, that would be a disaster.
Well,
we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But
Well,
yes, so thank you everyone for listening. This is the Praise the Pickle podcast, and it is the best podcast in the world.
In the world.
So, Kevin, if people want to tell us why we're the best podcast in the world, what do they do?
They have multiple ways of doing this. You can go to our Twitter, which is at Praise the Pickle. You can email us at praisethepicklepodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our Facebook, where we have most of our interaction with the fam and ams, which is facebook.com/praisethepickle.
Yeah.
You can also go to our YouTube page if you want. Not much action going on over there.
Well, our podcasts are on there, so...
a low one. But
don't bother.
Yeah, it's there if you have no other way of listening to it, or it's easy access.
Yeah.
So
yeah, please leave feedback. Please subscribe. Please rate us on iTunes. Yeah, the more ratings we get, the more traction we get, the more content we get, the more happier everybody is. Yeah, cool. So next week our top 3 is Kevin said it, but I can't remember what it is. So
come on, little Benny.
I've
hold on, no, I've got this.
Oh
I've got
my
this.
God.
It's top 3. Something to do with games
That
made you laugh.
made you
So
laugh,
top 3 games that
yeah.
made you laugh.
Oh, yes. I like this one.
Yeah. So that's that.
My dad would be like, "Oh, top 3 games that already made me laugh." Well, I don't know.
Here are my top
That
3
made me
games
cry.
that made me cry.
Yeah, so next week Dan is doing his Evil Within chat, which I'm so psyched for. I can't wait. So Dan,
It's going to be a long one next week,
make
guys.
sure you complete it. That's your homework, right?
I'm trying. I haven't really got much time considering I have 1-2 days this week and I'm moving
It's
house.
no excuse.
I'm doing my best.
Cool, yeah, so that's Dan's game for next week, and we'll be giving him his next game for the 3 weeks after that. Me and Dan are when you've listened to this, we went to EGX London, and we'll be doing a special, shorter podcast on that this week, so stay tuned for that as well. And finally, a special guest, Charlotte, my lovely wife, will be on the podcast next week, so stay tuned for that as well.
Yay!
So just basically, the moral of the story is stay tuned, all right?
Yeah.
Wunderbar. Have a wonderful whatever period of time you're listening to this, evening, morning, afternoon, and tally ho, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Pickle.